Hey, you know how in the original story, the fox and the cat, they hang Pinocchio? Can we do that with this movie?
Wait, in the original story they do that? What? I haven't read the original. I don't know.
Spoilers.
There is much we have to discuss. And that's the cold open.
So much to discuss. So much to dissect. Okay, starting the script.
Skitty.
I have to say it 7 times because, you know, like root beer. I heard something. Figaro, did you hear something? I heard something.
Let's go,
it's in the
Tybalt,
spirit of
great
it.
adventures await!
Welcome to Destination Animation, your trip around the world of cartoons, anime, stop motion and puppetry, special effects and CGI, and everything in between. I am your host, Carrie Dreblow.
And I'm Jason Knott.
And I'm Becca Knott, and today we are talking about Vasily Rovinsky's Russian 2021 film Pinocchio, A True Story, starring Pauly Shore.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I wish we were talking about that movie.
At least it's funny in a bad, or at least it's bad in a funny way.
Yeah. It's also funny in a bad way.
Mamma mia, a wooden boy. Bang.
Like, what are we actually talking about?
We're talking...
Well, this is the year of Pinocchio,
It is the year of Pinocchio. There's 3 Pinocchio movies, and so far 2 of them have been bad.
It is the season of Pinocchio.
We are talking about the Disney Plus that wasn't originally for Disney Plus, but if they were going to push this to theatrical release,
man.
God, that
I almost wish I could have seen that.
I didn't realize I was watching Cats 2019 until Figaro came up on floating 12 feet away from wherever he was standing. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we have actually been away for quite a while.
It's like you said on your in your community post, we do a podcast once a year.
Yeah, once or twice a year. I've been busy with a full-time job. That's taken most of my creative freedom away.
I had a full-time job.
Ditto,
the
less
whole time.
said the better.
And so did Carrie.
Well, good for you. It's my first.
Oh, baby.
Yep, also, you know, we got news to talk about, too, in addition to this piece of garbage that they call a movie.
Ugh.
Well, that's generous. Yeah, let's just jump right. We start with
Piece of poop sitting on the road. It's a metaphor.
A piece of poop.
I can't wait to go to school and learn what all this shit is. Anyway, let's start with the newsreel. What happened? What came out this year?
So much. Yeah, so, basically, the big news drop that just happened was the D23 Expo,
Yes.
but before that, I was hoping we could maybe talk about some of the stuff we did not cover since our last podcast.
Yeah.
'Cause there have been a lot of movies that came out and a lot of TV shows we've been watching, so...
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's you start, Jason.
Yeah, so the first major thing on this list we have here is Turning Red, the Pixar movie that was supposed to come into theaters on my birthday, but it didn't.
Yes, it got mildly delayed.
I wish I could have seen this in
I know.
theaters.
It was in some theaters, just not everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you were back home. Was it in theaters anywhere there?
No,
No.
of course not.
In a bigger city. This movie is about a red panda in Toronto.
Sold.
Sold, and then you hesitate. And it's very cute and very funny, and the one problem with it, though, is it didn't acknowledge 9/11.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, you guys, why didn't you acknowledge the 9/11 September attacks? They changed everything in the culture.
Yeah.
Also, it's too anime for early 2000s because no one was watching anime in the early 2000s, I guess.
Yeah, no one was made out of CGI either. Like, I don't know. I don't get that complaint.
Anyway.
My opinion, movie was awesome. It's one of my favorite Pixar things that I've seen just because it really went out there with the visual design. Domishi really pushed it into the anime aesthetic. It had like the warm romantic lighting of a Sailor Moon type project. I loved it.
Oh, I loved it too. It's so good. It's cute. It's funny. We watched it like 3 times a week it came out because we just wanted to keep watching it.
I concur. It's a very good movie.
Same.
I enjoyed
It's
it.
good.
Yeah, recommend.
Other Pixar movie, Lightyear. It was alright.
We don't talk about Lightyear. No,
I didn't think it was bad.
No, I didn't think it was bad either. It just wasn't great.
I really, really liked Socks. I love him. But I mean, whatever.
I thought the little callbacks to Toy Story were cute, but what they did to Zurg, well,
Unforgivable.
Look
Yeah,
at
that
how
was
they
weird.
massacred my boy.
Yeah.
honestly.
Look how they massacred my Zurg.
I think I disliked the movie a lot more than you two did. For me,
lot
it's
of
like
people
in my bottom 3 Pixars. The only movies they've made that I liked worse were Cars 2 and The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, Good Dinosaurs. Trash.
See, I don't mind the Good Dinosaur.
No, it's
Cars
garbage.
2. Cars 2 is the bottom rung for me.
I didn't find it that bad when I first saw it, but I haven't watched it since. Oh, there was a Cars TV show. We watched like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, I watched 2 episodes, then I had better things to do.
I watched 3 episodes.
Anyway.
Yeah, I tend to be a visual design person. I just feel like they didn't do enough new. That's my like five word review.
Yeah, no, when you're in outer space, like, you can do
Yeah,
a lot more than they did, which was nothing.
which was one planet, one kind of boring planet.
And Taika Waititi was there.
Yes.
All right, so next up is a movie that I haven't seen, but you two have and seem to really like. So I'll let you
Yes.
spiel about it for me.
The bad guys.
The bad guys.
That's what I was talking about in our last episode when we didn't know where DreamWorks was, and then we found them.
Oh, there you are, DreamWorks. I
That's
think
a
I made the
callback.
same joke.
Yeah, that's a callback.
And to be fair, Puss in Boots looks like it's going to have
Oh,
visual
yeah,
inspiration
yeah.
similar to this. So DreamWorks is kind of moving more in this direction.
God bless Into the Spider-Verse.
God bless.
God bless. You don't form a cross with your hand, you like make like a spider web.
Yeah.
It's very good. The story is about as simple as it could get. It is not a thinker. It's not a complicated story.
No, not at all.
But
But the animation is very tasty.
it's delicious. The animation is so good. The characters are nice, fun. It's just
Hot in one
Wow.
case. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah. Big recommend. Don't expect anything too deep, but especially if you are into like visual design, you're gonna have a
Which
have a
I
ball
am.
with it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll have fun with
Very
it.
cute.
Cool. And then possibly one that I've seen that you two haven't seen, The Sea Beast.
Nope.
Did you see it?
Yeah,
we didn't.
We didn't see it.
Okay, I guess I'm talking about it then. So this is actually a movie from former Disney animators who kind of went off and did their own thing.
Like Over the
to put-
Moon.
I forgot the name. Darn. Is it Chris Williams?
It's like Over the Moon. Is there a ridiculously hot moon goddess in this one?
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately not. No. Just some pirates who I like
Are they
them.
hot?
Are they hot? Well, there's Carl.
Yeah,
Urban, he's
yeah,
hot.
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, Chris Williams is the director.
Ooh, what did he do? Mulan.
Well,
Story
he did
artist
story
for
department for
Mulan, Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch. Scroll down a bit.
yes.
Okay,
Directed
director
Bolt.
of
Oh,
Bolt
he did
and
Bolt.
Big Hero 6.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
Co-directed Moana.
Oh, I thought that was a Rescue.
So yeah, like really a Disney veteran, and this movie is really good. Like I can,
Yeah, I've
I
heard-
can
I've
just
heard good
throw a
things.
full recommend.
Okay, yeah, we should check it out.
Yeah, we should. It's on Netflix. I barely watch Netflix anymore. I don't know why. Anyway.
Well, I know why. It's almost as if.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Chip and Dale.
Did we all see that movie?
Did
I
you?
Were we all
haven't.
kind of
I'm still avoiding
befuddled?
it.
You know what?
It's a befuddling movie.
It's the strangest movie I've ever watched. Like,
It's a movie that probably should have made me mad in some areas, but like didn't, but also did, but
I
also
was too.
didn't.
I was like too bemused by its very existence. Like, you're watching it and it's like, how did this get made? Because like. Apparently, what the word is the directors just asked the lawyers, "Hey, can we put this in?" They were like,
Can we put
"What
Randy
the fuck
Marsh?
is My Little Pony?" Whatever, go ahead. Like,
Can we put Randy Marsh in this movie? And they said sure.
they said, "Whatever." What the fuck is a marsh? They didn't care. There's so much like...
It's interesting because, like, it's sort of the modern day version of a Roger Rabbit, where these cartoon characters exist.
I heard a lot of people make that cross comparison.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not as good as Roger Rabbit by far, but
I would be shocked to learn that this was not originally a Roger Rabbit script because it's not Rescue Rangers, it's Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, but there is some actually really funny moments in it too. Like, it's not a totally worthless movie.
Ugly Sonic is there. It's a baffling movie once you start thinking of the logistics of, like, the legalities of it. It's like, what? There's so many different brands and, like...
Yeah, it's just kind of oddly befuddling to me. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just in a sweet spot where it's like, all right, you're tolerable.
I wish they had
laughed at a couple jokes.
How does it compare to the other big IP crossover movies? Like, those are just a thing now, apparently.
It's way better than fucking Space Jam 2 or, what else? Like Ready Player One? Like, no, that's way better than those.
Those are the same company. I do wish that the 2D animation had been hand-drawn because I don't think it looked very good at all.
No,
it didn't look right. And the voices were weird.
Yeah. I love John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, but they're a little weird.
Especially, like, when the other members of the Rescue Rangers...
kept their voices, yeah.
It was
like Tress McNeely, Jim Cummings. He did Monterey Jack, right?
I don't know. I never watched that show.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I just watched it as a kid. I didn't care about actors.
What?
I did.
You didn't watch the credits and memorize them? What's next on the list?
Anyway.
So, there were 2 movies that did come out this year that I don't know that any of us saw, but just seeing if so, Minions: Rise of Gru and Super Pets.
No.
Okay.
I thought Minions came out like 3 years ago.
And they advertised Super Pets for like years.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I'm so happy that movie's out now, so I don't have to see any more advertisements.
Yeah. So I think Minions was like going to come out like just pre-COVID, so they delayed it, and that's why I thought it came out a long time ago. Super Pets. I don't know when the ad campaigns start, but it was so persistent. Every time we would go to the movies, I was so sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's dead.
It's dead. But it's dead. You're all dead.
Didn't watch either of them, though.
Yeah.
No, me neither. But to be fair, Minions: Rise of Gru is actually getting decent reviews and is currently the highest grossing animated movie of the year. So.
Oh, did it outgross Minions 1? Or no, probably not, right?
I don't know.
Minions 1 is like freaking gangbuster numbers.
All right, let's see. Box Office Mojo says... Yeah, Minions, Rise of Gru, domestic 362 million, damn. International 542, total 905 million. Nice. Original Minions, slightly higher.
1.1 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, Rise of Gru's actually made more money domestically than the original, yeah. 362 versus 336.
Those grandmas on Facebook sure do love the Minions.
Yep.
That elusive Facebook
look, dearie, the little minions are on the radio again. Oh, I do love those minions. They're so snarky.
Let's get you to bed, Grandma.
Let's get you to bed.
No, I don't.
We've talked about this before, I think maybe during the Grinch episode, but like Despicable Me was a cute movie and then they got weird with it.
Yeah, they kind of just wrote with it.
Wrote.
Gotta hit this IP until it's dead. Give us all the money. ProZD made a really funny sketch where it's like, all right, so what would you like to do with this? Money! I want money! Well, by doing this, you will make money. Money! Yeah, just, that's Hollywood in a nutshell at the moment.
To have money.
I loved that movie growing up. Owl House Season 2. And in a
moving
couple
on to
weeks
TV.
Here. Yeah, in a month here, actually. Season 3 is coming out.
Wow.
There's so much that could be said about Owl House Season 2, which Jason's going to say in a YouTube video that's coming here soon.
Yes, by looking to be 3 hours long.
There's a lot to be said.
So
my condolences, man.
Mm-hmm. But what do you two have to say?
This show's fucking great, and I hate Disney.
Likewise, and likewise.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Luce and Amity kissed, and they're so cute. How can homophobia exist in a post-Lumity world? That's my greatest question to the universe. How can anyone look at that and say, this is a sin?
It can't. Like, they're cute. I hope those kids get all the happiness they deserve.
Yeah, I don't see the crew doing like a tragic gay story because we need some nice ones. But I love Owl House a lot, and it's ending soon, and I hate Disney.
Yes.
Did you guys hear about the investor meeting? Apparently, it was it was an investor thing, and someone investors were able to call in and comment on stuff. Bob Chapek is his name.
Yeah. Bob Chapek.
So someone called in and addressed him directly about how about the don't say gay stuff. You can't you can't be on both sides of the line, and saying how I was really excited about Owl House and really disappointed to hear about its cancellation. And Bob Chapek was like, "The fuck's an Owl House?"
That's so on brand haha,
yeah.
for Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Bob Chapek.
Yeah, I guess there's no recording of this, but it's reported in articles.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Stuff. Doesn't that piss you off?
Look at how they massacred my boy.
My owl.
My owl. Hooty-hoo.
Our boy Hootie.
Hoot!
Albert. Amphibia ended.
Yes, several months ago.
Amphibia ended, and it hurt me in ways I haven't been hurt in so long.
Honestly.
Oh my lord, both of these shows ended within season 2 of the Owl House. There is still one more, but it was the end of its normal run, and having those two shows end so close to each other, it's I'm not ready for this. I don't want to let these go.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing.
He got us.
Ah.
Amphibia's so good. It's so good.
Yes.
I don't know why we slept on it at first, but
I know. I'm going to make a video about season 3 in the future after I finish this season 2 vid for Owl House, so that's when I'll go more in depth.
Yeah, I feel like Amphibia was a show with a really slow build-up. It has a lot more filler episodes than the Owl House, but when it finally went for it, it went hard.
Matt Brawley would actually fight you about the use of filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a term.
Yeah, I guess I use filler loosely.
Well, there is something to be said about, how anime uses filler. Because, something like Naruto has a bunch of filler.
Yeah. I think that's just kind of the model for a lot of cartoons, is just, the first season is giving the channel something to rerun. Yeah, syndicate. And then they get to do a story.
Which, to be fair, I don't have cable, but when I actually did have cable for a weekend when I was visiting my dad, I looked at the Disney XD schedule, and it's wow, Amphibia's on a lot.
Yeah. Owl House did get a little more plot-heavy in its first season, but that's kind of an exception at this point. I would like to see it happen more.
I feel like Owl House, there was character progression in season 1, definitely, but they didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of the plot until...
Not the nitty-gritty, but I don't know.
Well, either way.
I don't know.
Either way, there is enough... Yeah, season 1 is definitely more syndication-friendly.
Yeah.
So maybe the correct term isn't filler, it's just the plot takes a lot longer to develop. So for a long time, it feels like it's not moving too much.
It's just establishing the world.
Yes, and the characters, so you like them more.
Yeah, you can't just jump into too much drama right away without knowing who the characters are.
You can't just drop into killing a child in the season 1 finale.
To be fair, I just rewatched True Colors, and so much of the season was so much of the season was just planting things that you wanted to know more about and you didn't know, and then in the finale they all came back and it's oh, that's what that was about. I'm terrified.
Yeah. They killed all 3 of them anyway. Don't put this in.
See, that's what I feel about this new Cars cartoon. That I don't care, but they planted the seed that Mater has a tenuous relationship with his sister, and I'm actually really curious about that. I might just go watch the last episode.
Yeah.
I haven't kept up with any of the spin-off series on Disney Plus, so I'll trust you on that.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
But yeah, Amphibia, I do think we slept on it. The finale especially is one of the best things I've ever seen. I'm not exaggerating on that. The finale wrecked me, and it wrecked me the second time.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of surprised something like that happened on the Disney Channel, honestly.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it doesn't feel like Disney, but in a good way.
Yeah, it feels like
Cartoon Network.
It feels like something Disney would do on a good day, which they don't have a lot of nowadays.
This episode is sponsored by the Disney Channel.
Also, all the badass anime shit.
Yeah, anime shit, definitely.
Well, we have to do plenty of dunking on Disney during the feature, so just to make sure what our views are.
Yes.
What is up, listeners? It's your host, Becca here, one of your 3 hosts. Just putting in a little disclaimer that while we were recording this episode, I was filing my nails the entire time, and you can super hear it sometimes when we're talking. Our lovely editor, Carrie, was able to get most of it, removed. But you're definitely still going to hear it in some parts. So, in the immortal words of animation god Richard Williams in regards to doing more than one thing at a time, I won't do it anymore. So, well, enjoy the episode.
Last TV show listed here, Tuca and Birdie Season 3.
Oh, Tuca and Birdie.
Tuca and Birdis.
The blessing that keeps on blessing my life.
Birdie and Tuca and Tuca and Tuca and Birdie.
Yes, relevant. Matthew Rhys, who is Emperor Bellos in Owl House, voices a recurring character in Season 3 of Tuca and Birdie.
He was also, what's his name, in Infinity Train.
Oh, yeah.
Which we have some things to say about Infinity Train coming up.
Oh, yeah, true.
Tuca and Birdie continues to be good. Now, I understand the show's not everyone's taste, but when people don't like it, they're stupid about it.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just because I go to 4chan to download my episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not a very good demographic to be drawing.
No, it is not.
Yeah, Tuca and Birdie is very shamelessly different from the typical, quote, adult animated show.
Absolutely.
It's shamelessly from like a 30-something, 20-something woman's perspective, and it
Yeah.
Like Lisa Hannah-Walt does not bend the knee to what
Anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa Hannah-Walt, she described it as a show by perverts for perverts.
I love this show.
Yeah, it's Tuca and Birdie asking the important questions like, is that fig tree fuckable?
Right?
He is.
She posted that about it being for perverts by perverts, and I posted that like sickos looking through the window meme, and she liked my response. So we understand each other.
Senpai noticed you.
Senpai did notice me.
Vindicated!
Why can't I think about what happened this season though?
Just a lot happened.
And you know what? People are like women about it, but like it's just a show, and just because the main characters are women and deal with some feminine issues doesn't mean you're gonna die if you watch it, boys.
Just because Greg Universe is a tiny mole that goes up into Tuca's... Anyway.
The main plots this season were that Tuca works for Chef Winter
Birdie.
instead of, or Birdie, sorry.
Yeah, Birdie does.
Birdie works for Chef Winter and closes her bakery, and then Tuca has an ongoing issue with like intense menstrual pain that she doesn't know where it comes from.
I feel you, girl.
I feel your pain, girl.
Yeah, those are the 2 big plot things. Also, Speckle gets an episode where he finally gets to tell the rich ass that he designs for off, and it's glorious.
Oh, Speckle, he's such a good boy.
Speckle. Good boy.
Everyone deserves a Speckle in their life. I have mine.
Ah.
I stabbed him with my nail file too. Anyway.
That is high praise, Jason.
I am 100% Birdie, though. And
You are, definitely.
It's upsetting sometimes. Anyway. What's next?
Anxiety, the animated series.
Right.
Yeah. Also, were there any other shows that you wanted to talk about in terms of
Harley Quinn.
things you watched? Okay.
Oh yeah, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn came back for season 3 this year.
The last episode is out when we're recording this, but we haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Still love the show. It's just the audacity of this show.
The audacity.
Right. Harley and Ivy are a couple in this season, and they're adorable.
Yes. They do really cool and unexpected things with Joker in particular. And also they like kind of retell the familiar Batman story, but like give it a new spin.
Yeah, you really liked that episode.
That was a really good episode.
Yeah. So that's a good show too. And that's kind of another show where boys on the internet are like, women. It's like, fucking grow up.
There's so much reactionary backlash recently. Like, there's even more, which we're going to talk about soon. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, whatever. Hopefully it doesn't... what am I saying? Hopefully
yeah.
it doesn't continue to be an issue. Like, inevitability, whatever.
Inevitable.
We got some trailers to watch before.
We got a lot of trailers, previews, and animation news. Got a
Yes,
lot.
let's talk about cartoon news.
Like Carrie was saying, a D23 Expo happened, plus it's just been a year, so there's a lot.
It's been a lot. This is why episodes take like 3 hours.
Yeah, to be fair, this episode, because the feature presentation sucks, let's just be blunt about it. This is almost as much about the news.
Push it back, farther.
I was going to say, when are they going to do Aladdin live action? But they did that.
But they did that, and it sucked.
Yeah, whatever.
And it still had things that I like, way more than Pinocchio, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves,
It's
though.
way better than Pinocchio, at least. Anyway.
So animation has actually kind of been in a renaissance with regards to like how many different good things are being made, because like all the streaming channels are throwing money at creators and giving them a chance to make stuff. We might be seeing that era come to an end based on a huge shakeup that's been happening at a couple of the big streaming services.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It started with Netflix, right? They purged a lot of their studios and like shows. They outright canceled some shows before they even got into production.
Yeah.
Like 4 years ago.
Dogwood.
Like 4 years ago, Netflix made this huge investment to bring in all the talent that was leaving other big studios. They wanted to be an animation studio that rivaled Disney. And now they just fired like half of their staff and canceled projects that were like halfway through development to in development. I don't get it.
No.
They got cold feet when subscribers started, like, canceling their subscription. And they're like,
raising the goddamn price.
We gotta do something. I know. Let's cut our animation.
Yeah, because I'm going to come back to watch, season 12 of Stranger Things? No, give me a cartoon.
Like 5-hour episodes of Stranger Things? No fucking thank you.
I don't have the time! See, Jason's throwing things.
My phone fell.
Put your phone away.
Save your throwing things for the feature.
I mean, this is a piss off, too. I'm glad Centaur World got to run its course.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, did the show actually end after the last season?
Yeah. Only 2 seasons.
Oh, okay. I forget the specific things that they canceled, but I heard... Like, we follow a lot of animation Twitter, so I think it was...
Bone was one.
Yeah, Bone. Poor Bone.
Oh, Bone.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that
Throw
was
them
a
a
big one.
bone.
I think it was Lauren Faust, the creator of My Little Pony and DC
called?
Superhero Girls, that was
Toil
talking
and
about what
Trouble.
was happening.
Yeah.
There was a Izzy's video recently that talked about it, but yes, she had a show, Toil and Trouble. I don't know if it was part of this axing, but it did not end up getting made.
Yeah.
Was Craig McCracken working on something too?
He's doing stuff for Cartoon Network at the moment.
He's doing Primal, right?
No, that's Gendy Tartakovsky.
My bad.
You always confuse them.
Leave me alone.
As I say that Netflix is cutting animation, the next 2 films on the list are released on Netflix, and The Sea Beast was on Netflix, so they didn't cut it entirely.
Yeah.
It's just downsized significantly, and a lot of big projects got the axe from a lot of the big names in animation. They felt very betrayed.
Yeah, let's talk about Warner real quick before we start talking
because it gets worse.
Yep. Not only did the Warner Discover merger kind of end up doing the same thing, like canceling a lot of stuff, they're also pulling things from their services.
I don't know why. Not even Disney, who did the frickin' Disney Vault for years. Even they haven't done that with Disney Plus, to my knowledge, yet. Not to this big a scale.
No, so and a lot of stuff was available to rent still, but I think it's getting pulled from things like that, too. It's like, what, Warner Brothers doesn't have enough server space?
Like, they pulled a lot of Cartoon Network shows, like Infinity Train, OKKO, Uncle Grandpa, like, just kind of older shows.
Close Enough.
But with Close Enough, yes. They fucking canceled Close Enough. Goddamn bastards.
You're going to have to bleep a lot of shit in this one, Carrie. It's a lot of bad news.
It's alright. Fuck those fucking shit-ass bullshit bastard-ass Barbra Streisand's.
And
got 'em.
Tits.
Yeah, we kind of just abandoned the whole, adjust our swear count to fit the thing we're talking about. We're talking about Pinocchio, but...
Pinocchio.
Yes, definitely.
Your shit little wooden boy.
Save your rage.
Pinocchio 1940 would definitely want you to say the words, but Pinocchio 2022 says, no, it's not S&P improved.
It's root beer.
Root beer. Anyway.
But yeah, that's so frustrating because, like, to take it off your service and not offer an alternative.
Yeah.
Hey, call me old. I love physical media. Give me some
Honestly.
physical media.
Honestly.
I would buy your Infinity Train DVDs. Blu-rays.
Blu-rays.
Ugh.
Yeah, when you have a thing on DVD, you have it forever. You can watch it whenever. You aren't at
And,
the
like-
whims of a company that decides that they don't want to pay residuals to their creative staff anymore, so they're just going to
That was
pull
the
it from
reason.
existence for no reason.
Yeah, that was the reason.
And, like, the one of the top tier worst things they did in regards to animation is there, like, you remember 2 years ago the movie Scoob came out?
Yeah.
Did pretty decent numbers for them as, like, a streaming thing during the pandemic.
Yeah.
They were going to release, like, a follow-up holiday movie for that. It was practically finished, but they said, nope, we're not releasing that. We're writing it off as a tax write-off.
Yeah, that's what a lot of this ended up being, tax write-offs. And, yeah, not paying the residuals to the artist, which is trash because the animation industry is already, like,
Yeah.
really financially abusive.
They also did this to Batgirl, the
They did.
movie, but that's not animation.
So,
It's still
Yeah,
shitty, but
and this is all happening at the same time that there's been a big push for a new deal for animation because they get significantly
yeah.
less money than live-action productions
I forgot
for
about
doing
that.
well,
that.
gee, that sounds suspiciously like the time Tuca and Birdie got canceled when the BoJack Horseman staff unionized. How about that? I'm not saying nothing, but, how about that?
Look for the union label.
Label. When you are buying a coat dress or blouse. I'm snorting a lot recently. I don't know why.
Blow your G-dang nose. Anyway, can we get past the bad news and look at other things?
Yeah, other things.
Yeah, so the first thing that
Like
we don't...
Pinocchio!
Yes, the good Pinocchio that's coming out later this year, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
The savior.
God bless
The
that
savior
man.
Pinocchio.
I don't think I've seen anything Guillermo del Toro's done that I haven't loved, and that includes his cameo on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Oh my god.
Sprung from my loins.
Yeah, Pan's
Big
Labyrinth was one of my
idea.
favorite movies back in the day. I actually haven't seen the Oscar-winning one yet.
Oh, the fish f***ing one.
Shape of Water.
That's
Gee,
a good
Guillermo,
one.
how come you got 2 Oscars for your fish movie?
No, Shape of Water is very good.
It is very good.
Like,
I like Hellboy.
his films don't miss. Like, even Pacific Rim, which I
love Pacific Rim.
actually don't quite care for that as much as other people, but it's still, like,
it's
aesthetically...
It's a stupid movie, but I love it.
It's still aesthetically nice.
He's a man who has fun and understands me personally.
Yes.
Yeah. He also has this very unique, like, kind of dark and creepy aesthetic to him. Like, I see him as kind of like a Tim Burton or Henry Selick, similar to that, where he's not afraid
Yeah.
to make things creepy and ambiguous.
But fluffier.
Yeah, but like at the same time, I feel like I could have a conversation with Mr. Del Toro better than I could have with Mr. Burton.
Yeah, and
He just has that vibe.
his, like what you were saying, Carrie, his whole kind of darker vibe is perfect for, like, a more book loyal... Well, not, it's not exactly book loyal, because it's set in 1930s fascist Italy, which is an interesting setting update. You can do a lot with it. But, like, it will probably... like, skew a lot closer to the original tone of the book,
Yeah.
which was very, very dark in some places.
Yep, Jiminy Cricket tells, well, just the cricket, not even Jiminy Cricket, tells
Yeah,
him
his name
to
is
be
Sebastian
good,
J.
and
Cricket.
he just steps on him and keeps going or smashes
Doesn't
him.
he crush his head in a mailbox or something?
No, he hits him with a mallet. kills him
I've
with a
heard so
mallet.
many different versions of how this fucking bug dies.
Well, that's how it happened in the book. He threw a mallet at him and it killed him.
Well,
I read the book as a child. It traumatized me.
wow, that's why you're like this, huh? I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's me. Anyway,
All I care about is that he definitely looks like he has a vision. That's all I want, is
Absolutely.
a director
Definitely.
with a vision being able to
And we-
make the movie that they want.
and we will get to that. But yeah, it looks great. It looks great.
It does. Like,
And
It's stop motion.
yes.
yeah.
And you know what else is stop motion?
And also, speaking of Henry Selick,
Yeah.
Wendell and Wild. And Wild and Wendell, and Wendell and Wild and Wild and Wendell.
yeah, so this is a collaboration between Henry Selick and Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan Peele don't miss.
He
If we
doesn't.
were a general movie podcast, we would have done 12 episodes about Nope by now.
Yes.
Did you see Nope?
Still haven't.
Carol.
I want to. I know. Yes. Judging. Dishonor on me. Dishonor on my whole family. Dishonor on my cow. Gigi,
Steven
that's
Yeun.
you. You're black and white.
Speckle. Speckle is in Nope.
He is. He's not as good a boy.
No, he's not as good a boy, but he is traumatized.
Oh, can we actually talk about Nope for a hot second? No, okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I don't know. Maybe we can talk about the special effects in Nope and call it part of animation. I don't know.
Maybe later.
Or-
I assume that's why we're
was
talking about
chillingly-
Pinocchio in the first place.
Anyway.
Later.
Okay. Yeah, Wendell and Wild. I don't know much about this movie. I definitely just watched the trailer that came out like this week. I don't remember anything about it, but like, which is fine. I like going into movies as blind as possible, and I remember I really, really liked the trailer.
Yeah. Like, it's not like other stop motion films like Laika, their movies, where like their puppets, they have those like,
The-
lines in their faces where they can
Swap.
swap models. Like, they have that in Wendell and Wild too, but they don't, CG it out. It's there and it's noticeable, but like, that's part of the aesthetic,
Ooh,
and that's kind of neat.
yeah.
I'm just glad that Henry Selick finally gets to direct another movie. It's been a while.
It's been since Coraline, actually.
Yeah.
Oof.
Which, if people don't know who Henry Selick is, director of Coraline, James and the Giant Peach, and The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And
Yeah,
Monkey Bone.
Oh, Monkey Bone. Go watch our Coraline episode.
Yep. Opinion. Henry Selick, good.
Or Jason's video on Leica.
Oh, yes. I forgot I did that.
That took you like 8 months.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Speaking of Leica, Wildwood is their next project.
Yep. It was just an announcement. We haven't actually... Oh, actually, it was the cast announcement.
Yes,
was the big
cast
news on
announcement.
this.
Such a good-looking cast.
Yum, 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 yum.
We
Delicious
actually,
cast. Yeah, Jason's going to pull it up because it's hit after hit after hit after hit.
hit after hit.
While he's looking at that, and this is kind of relevant, the Mario movie got delayed.
Did it?
It did. Apparently there was test screenings, and apparently there were some problems.
No.
I thought you were swans.
Okay, who's the cast? Who we got?
We got, there's a couple names I don't recognize, but most of them I do. We got Mahershala Ali, Jacob Tremblay, Aquafina, Angela Bassett, Jake Johnson, Charlie Day.
My husband.
Jermaine Clement, Tom Waits. Fuck
Your
yes.
husband.
Richard E. Grant. He's more like my grandpa. Tom Waits.
Okay.
My creepy grandpa.
Yeah. It's a good cast. It's a stacked cast.
Yeah, I have no idea what Wildwood is about or
There's
the
a-
characters,
There's
so
a crow on this picture of the cast list. So
it's like I have no idea who's playing who, but I'm for it.
yeah. And Mario was kind of relevant because Charlie Day's Luigi, and I'm sold.
Ah, okay. But yeah, next film from Leica. We are fans of Leica on this podcast.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Except
Yes, I
maybe
made a
their
whole video about
their
them.
sneaky anti-union efforts, but
Yeah.
Ooh.
Artistically, we like them.
yes.
It's like Disney, right? Like art, like we like the art usually. The company.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm spicy tonight. You're gonna have to censor a lot.
Y'all spicy.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot release dates. So, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio releases on Netflix December 9th. Wendell and Wild just premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival earlier this week and releases on Netflix on October 28th. And Wildwood currently scheduled for April 16th, 2023.
Oh, my birthday weekend. We're gonna go see it.
Yeah.
Yee.
Last time I saw like a movie on my birthday, it was Missing Link. Oops. Anyway.
At least you saw a Missing Link.
Yeah.
Many people didn't.
Oh, many people didn't. I'm one of the only 3. The other 2 were my friends who brought me for my birthday.
I'm glad they're
Anyway.
still in business after that.
I mean, they got that Nike money.
That
All right, and next up is one of our other favorite animation studios, Ireland's Cartoon Saloon.
cartoon.
That sounded like a Scottish accent. I'm sorry, I can't do Irish well.
It sounded like Gerard Butler.
Uh-oh.
We don't have a huge amount of information about My Father's Dragon, but we did actually get a first look image of the boy and the dragon.
Ooh.
We got a cast update too.
Yes, cast update
I didn't see
too.
that.
I want to see the picture.
Oh, hold on, yeah.
I probably should have put that in the podcast folder, shouldn't I have?
Did someone put Luck on this list?
No, because it's completely forgettable.
I guess we can talk about Luck, which that was the debut movie of Skydance Animation, produced by John Lasseter, and critics are tearing it apart because it's like...
Good.
It's basically like
Oh, cute.
the Pixar formula of, this is the story behind how this works, the secret world of... And
kind of like how the Russian Pinocchio movie is the true story of Pinocchio. That's how they intro it, Carrie. It's the real growing noses when you lie. That's bullshit. Here's the real story. It's a fairy tale. John Heater the horse. Anyway, I'm fired up today. You all right? What?
Oh, you broke me. I'm sorry. Anyway.
hot take, Becca is funny.
Yes. Charlene.
All right, so My Father's Dragon, again, Cartoon Saloon. Every movie they've made has been nominated for an Oscar for good reason. Premieres at the London Film Festival on October 8th and will be on Netflix in November.
Nice. Finally. I've been waiting.
Yeah, we've been waiting. First movie since Wolfwalkers, and Wolfwalkers is in my top 10 still, so... And I'm doing a video on Wolfwalkers, which will be hopefully done eventually, maybe.
Yes! Someday. They got a good cast here, actually, for My Father's Dragon. They got Jacob Tremblay. They got Alan Cumming, Judy Greer, Rita Moreno. That's pretty good.
Ian McShane.
Charlene Yee. Ian McShane. Oh, yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg.
That's pretty good. That's Jackie Earle Haley. I haven't seen him in ages.
Yeah, what's that name? Who is that?
He's Rorschach.
Rorschach?
I haven't seen him in ages.
Oh, yeah. What's he been doing? Well, he's been in things. Why haven't you been paying attention?
He was in the Dark Tower.
What was he in the Dark Tower? Oh, he was there. The Dark Tower. Can we talk about the Dark Tower for a minute?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, and also movie directed by Nora Toomey, the director of The Breadwinner. This is her second feature.
Nice.
Yes.
I expect to be destroyed.
Nora Toomey. She co-directed Secret of Kells.
Yes.
Anyway.
So Puss in Boots.
Yeah, we got a trailer for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is the next movie from DreamWorks, which very much looks like it's following the aesthetic choices of the bad guys and the Into the Spider-Verse, like non-photorealistic rendering thing.
Yeah, just look at like the first Puss in Boots movie.
Which I never
In
saw.
comparison, I saw it, it's alright. In comparison to like the animation for this, it's night and day. I mean, like, the animation for the first movie is pretty good, but it was more like...
More like Shrek style?
Yeah, more like Shrek style. This is way more stylized and, like, fresh.
You love to
I'm
see
excited.
Yeah.
You definitely love to see it.
I love to see it.
I love to see it.
Yeah.
I also just like the Shrek franchise, so it's nice to see it again.
Yeah. Oh, Shrek.
But yeah, like it does look like they're going with more like comic booky action where it, the motion is more abstracted. It's quick, the cutting, the timing, as opposed to, we have to include everything in photorealism and weight and which I like. I wish that would just become the default is filmmakers do what works for this movie, not just we're doing this because this is what you always do.
Yes.
CGI got real comfy there for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that releases in theaters on December 21st.
Ooh, nice. Didn't they push that back? No, they pushed it back from like an earlier this year. Really, anyway.
Yeah, jumping over to anime for a second, we got a trailer for Suzume, which is the new movie from Makoto Shinkai, the director of Weathering with You, Your Name, and the Garden of Words.
Oh, nice. I saw one of those. Your Name.
Is Garden of Words the one with the guy who makes shoes?
Yes.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh. Your Name was cute.
Director that's famous for his beautiful animation of the city.
Yes.
Honestly, I saw the trailer. It doesn't give away many plot details. It's just, there's a young lady, and the animation is beautiful. Sold. Done.
Neat.
A lady, you say?
Is she hot? Anyway.
I'm too ace for this discussion.
Just kidding.
I'm still fired up.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, that releases in Japan on November 11th of this year, and Crunchyroll acquired it for a 2023 North American release. So more news about that will come.
Nice.
Next up, we have news that Nimona, the Blue Sky animation project that was a comic book written by one of the co-directors of She-Ra and the Princess of Power, is alive.
Yay.
Yo!
According to this, Bruno Madrigal saved it.
Oh, I see.
The directors are Bruno and Quain. Those are their last names. They were the directors of Spies in Disguise.
Cool.
Which one's that?
I never saw that. That was the one where Will Smith became a pigeon. Yeah.
Yep.
That was technically their last movie.
Yep, their
Blue
last,
Sky.
and it actually got good reviews, which, like, Blue Sky tends to be a mixed bag, but, you know, that one was generally well-liked.
I liked Blue Sky. You were all right with me.
But yeah,
Blue Sky. Loved you. No, well, love is a strong word. Sorry. I'm all spiced.
Blue Sky, your movies were mixed, but it's still tragic that so many artists lost their jobs and didn't get a chance to create new pieces of art just because Disney decided, money!
Money! Give it to money!
But yeah, also, Annapurna Pictures are the ones that picked it back up, and they are an indie animation company that is known for their artsier output, so that really makes me hopeful.
They released Missing Link.
Oh, yes. Oh yeah, that's right. Focus Features dropped Leica, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I have a feeling I know why. Anyway.
Anyway.
But yeah, we're really glad that that's alive. It's a very queer story, so it's good to see that being revived.
Yes.
And that will release on Netflix sometime next year. We don't have a release date yet.
It was really close to like being done too when it got canned, so that's nice that it came back to life.
Honestly.
Hopefully everything can be saved.
Honestly. You'll love to see it.
You'll love to see it. Animators should just make their own animation studio with blackjack and hookers.
In fact, forget the animation studio. No, all the animation studio.
Yeah, screw the whole thing.
Yeah, also, quick announcement. There is no real production details on this, but we missed the news. The director of Hair Love for Sony Pictures Animation, Matthew Cherry, was announced to be at the head of an upcoming movie, Tut. And it's going to be like an Afrofuturist movie.
Nice.
And that's pretty much the only details we have. We don't even have a relative release date, so I'm guessing 2024 or 2025.
Yeah.
But I'm excited because Hair Love was fantastic.
Yeah, that was.
And then
For all the animation that's been canceled, there's like a new season of Love, Death, and Robots, a new season of Spark Shorts, is there?
There's like a new... Yeah.
Short Circuit.
Short Circuit.
Anyway.
all right, now pivoting back to Disney, the D23 Expo was a couple of weeks ago, and all the news dropped.
All the news.
No Encanto TV series, though. So
Yeah, what the hell?
Boo, hiss.
So Disney and Ravensburger are doing a new TCG.
TCG.
Yeah, they made the Villainous board games, which we love and play a lot.
That's not animation.
It features animated characters, Jason.
Well, whatever.
I've actually heard some talk about this with my Magic the Gathering friends, because part of them are just like wondering, is Disney really trying to compete with Magic and Pokemon? What? Okay.
Carrie, have I talked to you about Elestrals? This episode is sponsored by Elestrals.
I've seen you getting really into it, but I still don't really know what it is.
I'll show you after.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we got a couple new shows, couple new movies in the works, some releasing sooner than others. First one we got is Zootopia Plus.
Yep.
Which is not the show you wanted.
It's not the show I wanted. I wanted like a police procedural in Zootopia. But I guess, times are changed, so... Well, not necessarily changed, but whatever.
Have been acknowledged.
Have been acknowledged.
I believe what was revealed is that this actually isn't like a full separate story with a plot. It's just like following the characters from Zootopia. Like there's an episode about the sloth. There's an episode about the rodents,
Yeah.
It's just short little stories.
I think they announced that like a while ago, yeah.
It sounds cute. I like the world of Zootopia, and I like the characters, so I'm not opposed.
Not as horny as Beastars, but...
It could get there.
It could.
Give it time.
Give it time.
Yeah, not one of the things I'm more excited for, but it's a thing that exists.
Yes, maybe we'll get Wild Hops.
Jason.
Anyway.
You will survive, don't worry.
And now the Disney Plus series that I actually am excited for, Iwaju, which is a co-production between Kugali Animation and Walt Disney Feature Animation, and it's a series that's coming to Disney Plus next year.
Did I think that was a movie?
I thought it was a movie, too.
That's
But,
cool.
yeah, I guess it is a series.
Oh yeah, the first image for that came out. There was a little lizard. I think he had a sweater on.
Yeah.
There it is.
But yeah, the leads of Kugali Animation, there were 3 of them, came out and actually talked about the themes and the inspiration, so I need to pull this up so I don't muck it up.
Afrofuturism being like a genre is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Quite neat. I'm glad to see it entering the mainstream more.
It seems like such a specific thing, so it's kind of weird that, like, it's odd for something so specific that seems to be becoming a thing, but, like, it's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it. The Santa Clauses? What?
That's not animation, I don't care.
I don't know, that beard looks CGI. Anyway.
So what the series was inspired by is the city of Lagos, Nigeria, which what they said the inspiration was that it's one of those cities that is the most divided by class. So you have these big futuristic apartment complexes and skyscrapers next to slums directly.
Whoa.
So the 2 main characters, there's one from the bougie part of the town and one from the slum part of the town, and it's exploring that dynamic.
Oh, that's cool.
So possibly a bit anti-capitalist, I don't know.
Delicious. Oh, imagine Disney putting out an epic capital. Anyway.
Yeah, no, probably not. It's Disney, but you know, I'm definitely more excited than I was when I was already pretty hyped for this after I saw the promo art and the talk about the theme. So yeah, that's coming out next year, and I look forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me also as well.
Yeah. Me too.
All right, so continuing
Stop
with
copying me.
Disney feature animation, next up, they didn't actually have any new news about this, but just acknowledging the next Walt Disney feature animation movie is Strange World.
Yeah, there's been a trailer.
It's a strange world.
It sure is.
Yep.
I have no idea what
this
this
is
movie's
indeed a
about,
world,
but-
and it is indeed quite strange.
I do kind of like that Disney are, in general, of recent years, have been playing their movie trailers pretty close to the chest. Not really revealing a lot of stuff.
I appreciate that.
It's like, I feel like that was a lost art for a while. And then it sort of came back.
Yeah, through the 90s, Disney just they spoiled the entire movie in the trailers.
He's the world's greediest Meister.
Wow.
He's the world's greediest man. It's Ebenezer Scrooge!
Whatever.
Yeah,
Thinking of the same.
the details that we do know is that it's supposed to be like a pulpy sci-fi adventure, so a lot of that like 1920s flair of just exploring all the strange and unusual things in this amazing new world.
Whoa.
Well, it's got that over Lightyear, at least.
Yeah, honestly.
I sure do love being on one planet. I'm already on one planet. Disney, give me something new.
This definitely looks like there's going to be lots of new stuff. Like, this one, the world was kind of alive. Like, there's these bushes
Yeah.
of plants that have legs, and the
There's a
creatures
sheepdog.
are, like, squishy and amorphous. It looks interesting.
The trailer was cute, too. Like, they played it like an old pulpy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
it
it-
looked like a 1950s, like, sci-fi B-movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. This could make a great Kingdom Hearts world someday.
Wink.
That's,
And yeah, the directing team of this is Don Hall, longtime Disney veteran, plus screenwriter Qui Nguyen, who was a co-writer on Raya and the Last Dragon.
Uh-oh!
well, there were like 6 writers for that. Maybe she was one of the good ones.
Maybe.
We're being so salty. I didn't even hate Raya.
I kind of hate Raya.
like,
Yeah. Raya was an adequate movie with some good ideas that just didn't quite come together for me, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't like it either, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Avatar instead. Do we have to watch Avatar, The Shape of Water or whatever? Is that animated? It is, but
Well,
I don't want to watch
It's like
it.
90% CG. Let's be real.
I mean, maybe it'll be good.
No.
Snorting.
Right, and we did get
potatoes.
an announcement of a brand new movie that we had not known about its development yet, Wish, which is...
I wish I knew what it was called.
Oh, I also forgot. Strange World comes out this November, November 23rd. Wish is the next movie after that for Walt Disney Feature Animation. It is their fall 2023 title. And so it's basically the inspiration for this is the origin of the wishing star that has appeared in many Disney movies.
I know where the wishing star came from. Firefly f***ed Evangeline. And
Look how she lights up the sky.
Yeah, is Ray going to be in this movie?
Goddamn, she dumb mythic.
he better at least cameo.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, so this one is going to be directed by Chris Buck and Fawn Verusathorn, and with screenwriting by Jennifer Lee. So this is the team from Frozen and Frozen 2.
All right.
And Fawn Verusathorn is the head of story from Raya. A lot of people from Raya are getting their own movies.
Verusathorn. It sounds like Rusafi.
Rushafi.
But yeah, the big thing that is exciting about this one is that they are really supposedly pushing the visual aesthetic. Like, the entire look of the movie is supposed to be like watercolors. So it's kind of it's kind of a 2D animation and CG hybrid aesthetic, which I am really excited about that. Like,
Kind of like what they wanted to do with Tangled.
Yeah, that's pretty good, because most of Disney CGI movies have looked very samey for a while, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, Encanto still had the basic photorealism aesthetic, even though they really did it well, where this one's really going to push the aesthetic more. And so if Tangled was supposed to be inspired by paintings, this one might actually do it. I hope, please.
I wish.
Hi, Griffin.
And it is also going to be a musical, whereas Strange World probably isn't going to be. So this is their next big musical fantasy. I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Nice.
Sounds promising.
Moving on to Pixar's D23 presentation, we got a teaser poster and a first look image from Elemental, which is Pixar's next movie.
Yes.
Elementary, my dear.
So this one, supposedly, it takes place in the world of elements, and the two main characters are a fire lady and a cool water dude, and...
they probably have a heteronormative relationship. I'm a little bored of that. Anyway, but I do think...
It seems like typical Pixar premise to me.
I like the idea that they can't touch, because
that's Pushing Daisies vibes.
That's Pushing Daisies vibes. I love Pushing Daisies.
It's tragic.
When you can't, like, touch your SO, that creates a lot of tension.
No, Rogue. Rogue.
Oh yeah, Rogue. I forgot. From X-Men.
Yeah, and the director of this movie is Peter Sohn, the director of The Good Dinosaur, so...
Oh, no!
Let's hope he does a better job.
Everything keeps happening.
Hey, Griffin.
I'll give him a second chance, but I was not really a fan of his first movie, which, to be fair, went through production hell, so I don't know how much of it he was responsible for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Good Dinosaur, it went through a lot.
Yeah, and it put me through a lot, so...
But yeah, that's the next Pixar. They didn't really give many details. It was just a couple quick looks.
Yeah. Indeed. They announced a sequel.
Yes.
Yes, they did announce a sequel. Inside Out 2. The necessary sequel.
To Inside Out 2. Riley goes through puberty.
Outside In.
Outside In. That would actually be a...
Inside Out that
oh no.
Puberty, sorry.
Yeah, I'm ambivalent.
I really, really like Inside Out, but...
Oh yeah, me too. But I'm ambivalent to the idea that it needed a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hard-pressed to want a sequel for things. Like, I'd rather have something original. Like, Incredibles 2 is an exception. Like, that was a movie that really lent itself to more.
Like, I'd wanted Incredibles 3, honestly.
Yeah, but we didn't need a Frozen 2. We did not need a Wreck-It Ralph 2.
God knows.
God only knows.
Yeah, and like Amy Poehler is revising her role as Joy, but some of the other voice actors aren't returning, so kind of concerning.
Like who? Well, I know Richard Kind isn't returning.
Did he died?
Well, no, Richard Kind was Bing Bong.
Oh, he did die.
So what I'm hearing, Mindy Kaling and Bill Hader will not be returning to voice Disgust and Fear.
Why?
Ask them why.
Ask them why. Tell them
supposedly because they were offered just 2% of the salary of Amy Poehler.
Oh, that sucks. Oh, never mind.
Okay, no, Disney being greedy again. Big surprise.
Again.
Well, hopefully they'll pull a Futurama and maybe we actually, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Which, speaking of, Futurama is getting another revival. We haven't talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tangent.
I never finished. I didn't actually finish watching the last revival.
Me neither.
Yep, me neither.
The last episode, too.
I only made it to Fun on a Bun, and then I'm like, I'm done.
It's gonna be fun on the bun.
So also, Pixar is producing a TV series, their first TV series. Directed by Michael Yates, who is a storyboard artist that's been there for a long time. It's called Win or Lose, and apparently it's an anime sports show.
Yeah, we talked about this when they announced it. It's going to be like each episode is from the perspective of a different character or something.
Yeah.
It sounded cool, and the first image was released too.
Oh, so it's a mashup of Rashomon and an anime sports series.
Yes!
That's not how I remember it. Yeah. What's this, Elio? Elio, what's all this then?
That one I'm actually excited for. So the only thing that they showed is the voice actor for the kid, Elio, the main. This one is by the writer and co-director of Coco, Adrian Molina. And it's coming out in spring 2024. There's almost no details out about it, but looking forward.
I googled Elio and got Elio Motors. What is that?
Look up Elio Pixar.
That's it. Oh, yeah.
You have to breath up on your Googling skills, Mr. Filmington K. Freakerton.
Click it.
I like that, actually. That's my canon full name now.
His middle initial is K. Click it. I want to see the picture. Why aren't you clicking better?
I did it.
Click better.
I'm working on it. There we go.
Yeah, I did see this image.
I did not. That's kind of cool. He's got like a eye patch.
Yeah. And the skin of his enemies.
Oh, I saw that.
Apparently there are some plot details. It's an 11-year-old boy who is beamed into space. So it's going to be like an adventure. Meets aliens and becomes the ambassador for Earth. Yeah, this sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I did hear about this.
We're going to outer space a lot. Are they like... Is this kind of like that conspiracy where they had like clues for 9/11 in a lot of media, so that once 9/11 happened, we were like desensitized to it, but this time they're doing like... getting us desensitized to the idea of living in space because the planet's about to burn?
Let's be real, we all kind of want to escape the planet at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Indeed. Speaking of escape, Disenchanted.
I didn't watch the trailer for that.
It looks pretty neat.
I like Enchanted.
Yeah, I like Enchanted, and like it seems they're going in a completely unexpected direction with the sequel, which I'm all for.
I didn't expect that. When's it coming out? Oh, soon.
Yeah, soon.
November.
It's coming out on the 23rd of November to Disney+.
That's soon enough. I won't bother with the trailer. I like going into things as blind as possible.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like the first Enchanted.
I barely watch trailers anymore.
I mean, do you want me to talk about the plots, a little bit about the plot at all?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the plot of this one supposedly is that Giselle is settling down into suburbia, but she feels like she doesn't have her happily ever after. Things aren't perfect, and so she wishes for them to be perfect, but it might not be all that she expected.
Yes.
Amy Adams is my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amy Adams as Giselle, just great role. She owned it.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing some fun things with the sequel.
I bet the lesson is going to be life isn't perfect and you have to accept the bad with the good.
Maybe.
I assume so.
Maybe so.
Yeah, with Enchanted, my only problem with it was, like, the climax was kind of meh, and also this was the first movie where we kind of got the, like, the Disney girl boss feminism thing going, which they did not handle very well.
I feel like it was handled a little better than what they've been doing recently, but maybe it's just nostalgia and grandfather clause, whatever.
Yeah, this was like the
that
first
Santa
movie
Claus.
that where Disney really started like basically doing the internet criticism of the old Disney movies, and they're like, well, you can't just you can't fall in love in one day, and
But like that
It was charming then.
yeah, that was the movie to do it with because the premise lent itself to that. But when you
do it with like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, when you do it like in Frozen, it's just like, oh, you're just trying to be a smartass, are you, Disney?
Trying to be a, what's he think I look like, a jackass?
yeah. And to
we're
be
getting
fair,
there.
Enchanted did so well that might have been where they got the idea for it. Like, hey, it worked in this movie. Let's just make this our new normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm tentatively excited for Disenchanted, just because I really like the characters and the actors, and they are including some 2D animation in it, so...
By James Baxter.
James Baxter!
I don't think so, because he went to Netflix, right?
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
sounds correct.
I don't know who's doing the 2D animation.
You don't keep track of James Baxter's every movement, Carrie?
Every move he makes.
I mean, I wish I could keep better track of what he's doing, but because I want to see all of it.
Yes.
What I don't want to see
Okay,
is the
so
Little Mermaid remake.
Okay, but you have to explain why, because people are going to make assumptions.
Yes.
yeah, the internet's losing their mind about this, and it's become like an entire cultural debate about like thing good or thing
black-
bad.
Fictional mermaid has broken white, fragile internet.
Die mad.
People are legit like trying to make this scientific debate. Like, well, mermaids.
Mermaids aren't real!
They're trying to say like mermaids can't be black because of this scientific reason, but like, shut up.
Scientifically, mermaids were probably manatees that drunk sailors thought were women because they were drunk and lonely and horny.
Scientifically, some people shouldn't have f***ing Twitter accounts.
Honestly.
Yes.
But yeah,
Here's the thing. I have problems with this trailer. Halle Bailey is not one of them. She has a
Yeah,
really
exactly.
amazing voice.
Yeah, she's great. I like her. She's fine. I haven't seen her in anything, and I already can tell I'll probably like her fine. It's everything else, and knowing what Disney has done with the other remakes that I'm not excited for.
We're getting there.
Yeah. The general problem with the Disney remakes tends to be that they don't understand what made the original work in the first place, or they try to retcon stuff from that and over-explain it, or they just don't let
fix
their
it.
directors have a vision at all, because they have to keep to the source material because we still have to make this the same movie.
Yeah, or quote-unquote fix things.
Oh, they announced Mufasa. That we're going to talk about that in a minute, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, the next three are like all Disney live-action remakes of animated features, or prequels or sequels, yada yada.
And all I don't care about.
Peter Pan and Wendy.
I don't care.
Yeah, whatever. Mufasa.
I don't care.
Mufasa already has a backstory real Lion King fans know. It's a tale of two brothers.
But Becca, don't you want to know the scintillating story about how Mufasa was orphaned and alone and worked his way up
No.
to become the king?
I
No,
don't
is that
care.
actually the premise?
Yes.
No, his father's a hottie, his mother's Uru, and they were the king and the queen, and his brother Taka became Scar. This is bullshit. No, wait, hang on. F*** you, Disney. You had a backstory. I'm so mad. I'm pissed. His grandpa was Mohatu.
You're like the Lord of the Rings fans who are really pedantic about the new Amazon show.
Well, did they rewrite the family trees?
I don't think so. I don't know.
But yeah, the only thing about the Mufasa the Lion King prequel is that it's directed by Barry Jenkins, who is actually a very good director, like director of Moonlight.
Yes.
So maybe he will do a better job than the Lion King
it's
2019.
also an original.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also an original story, so there's a little more freedom, I guess.
Except that they already have a backstory.
that
I'm pissed. I'm going to watch Lion Guard instead.
Anyway, to quickly wrap up Peter Pan and Wendy, this has actually been in development for 6 years at this point, and it's by the creative team that made the remake of Pete's Dragon. They actually said in interviews this one was so much harder to do because, like, Pete's Dragon, while people have fond memories of the original, it kind of is an
It's
under the
not good.
radar Disney. So they felt like they had more creative freedom. Where because this is Peter Pan, they're like, we have to make sure we do this well, or we're going to get massacred.
Gary, is Christopher Walken in it? Is Christopher Walken in it as Captain Hook? Say the
not-
line, Jason.
The spirit who haunts this dark lagoon tonight. Peter Pan has found the mother.
Peter Pan
Nice to have a
has
mother.
found a mother.
It's nice to have a mother.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
no, it's Jude Law is Captain Hook.
Hot take, I like Christopher Walken as King Louis.
Yeah, he's great as King Louis. I actually like Jungle Book. It's the best Disney remake.
See, I think we could talk about this. Some things are bad in a way that is hilarious and memeable and funny. Other things are just bad in a boring way. A lot of the
Yeah.
Disney remakes fall into that territory for me, where this is bad and it's not bad in a funny way.
And after we discuss this last rage-inducing bullet point, we'll talk about that. Really, Disney? You're going to touch that one?
Snow White.
She's 13, Disney.
Snow White live action remake.
I
don't care.
That's sacred. Like, they can't.
I knew they would do it eventually. I knew when Pan 2015 came out, which is a terrible movie, I knew it was only a matter of time before Disney was going to try and remake their own Peter Pan, and they're doing it.
We're talking about Snow White now, though.
And now they're
Yeah.
doing Snow White. I knew they would do it.
Because there was like 3 Snow White movies that came out within the last, 10 years or something?
Yeah. It's a hot
So here's the
property.
question. After this, they're kind of out of their big titles. What are they even going to do to...
Carrie, you forgot about Aristocats.
yes,
They've
who
also
could
been,
forget about that 1970 beloved classic that just begs for a live-action remake with terrible CGI cats, the Aristocats.
The world needs to see Edgar Balthazar doing cats.
They haven't done Hercules.
Oh yeah, they are talking about her Hercules remake.
Oh, did they hear me? No, Disney.
They're also talking about Sword in the Stone, which has also been in development for years. Like the Game of Thrones guys were attached for a while. Like,
What?
yeah, leave it alone.
What?
Leave it alone.
Wow.
Leave it alone, you two. Go away. There's also the Fantasia. Well, not a direct Night on Bald Mountain is getting a movie, I guess.
What?
Nothing happens. A bunch
What?
of demons have an orgy.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's
no.
been a thing that's-
I'm done. I'm out. Bye.
It's
See
been
you
a
later.
thing that's been a
Carrie,
while. Carrie, come back. We have to do it.
We're not even at the feature presentation. There's so much more to get angry about. This is a salty episode of Destination Animation.
We haven't even gotten to the actual thing to be salty
You know what?
about.
I'm excited because I don't think we've ever really done an episode about a bad movie yet
Not yet.
that we're gonna
We've talked
rip
about
into.
it.
Yeah.
And now
I
we're
know we
doing
were
it.
considering doing one on Mars Needs Moms for a long time, or just like deliberately doing one that we hated. The closest we got was The Lion King 2019.
And the universe has gifted us with
Yes.
something new and relevant and
Yeah,
terrible.
we were summoned back to the podcast table to talk about Pinocchio 2022. God awful movie,
I'd rather watch the Pauly Shore version again. And I'm not even joking.
honestly.
That movie is memeably bad. This one, what were they even thinking?
Who wants to start?
Where do you start?
Well, let's start with the logo.
Oh God! Right out the gate, they let you know what you're in for. The horrors. The horrors.
I'm gonna say, honestly,
Chucky Finster voice. The horror! The horror!
So yeah, the logo plays, and then Jiminy like floats down on his umbrella, singing along to it. I gotta say, as far as like a live action version of Jiminy Cricket, if you have to stick to his design, they did the best they could, and it's not bad.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
I think it's all right, but there's a fundamental problem with making this movie realistic, which we'll kind of get to as we go along. Especially once we get to Honest John and Gideon, that's where I'm going to go off. So how does this movie open?
So the original opens with When You Wish Upon a Star and, you know, the titles where it shows the animators, the actors, and then it goes to Jiminy at a book. This one, Jiminy just floats down at the very end of When You Wish Upon a Star. He sings like half a line from it, and then we're already going.
Yeah.
That's a pretty song, huh? I'm Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And like,
It doesn't
Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually does a pretty decent Jiminy voice,
does.
but it starts to grate on you right away.
I find a lot of the voice acting's pretty decent. Yeah, it totally cuts the story of Jiminy being like, I used to be an atheist, and then I found Jesus. Which, that's basically it, right?
It is it, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't believe in that bullshit either, but let me tell you what changed my mind.
Yeah, this one gives us no introduction to that. It's just, well, let me tell you a swell story.
Okay.
About when I was homeless, breaking into other people's houses.
I'd rather hear the true story from Tybalt the horse.
Wait, you didn't hear the rest of the story.
Don't you want to hear what happens next?
No! So, we watched this movie, and then we were going to watch it again, just like the refresh for the podcast.
We noped out.
We noped out on the second time. How far did I get?
You got up to like
The puppet show.
right before the nose scene.
Yeah, and then I bailed. You stayed a little longer, but...
Yeah, I watched past the Pleasure Island part, and then I was like, you know what, this, I'm out of here.
And Carrie, you watched it
I watched this
fully
movie
once.
the first time, and then some of the directing decisions were so bafflingly bad that, like, I was fascinated by it. So I then went back, alternating scenes between the original and then watching the remake, just to understand all, like, dissect, put it on the operating table and take out the organs to figure out what were they going for? How did this screw it up so bad?
That's dedication.
And yeah, I did watch it all the way through the second time, but to be fair, I had the 1940 original, which, hot take, 1940 Pinocchio is a good movie.
Whoa.
It is. Is that a controversial opinion? Isn't it like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes, it's very highly regarded, but I could see, like, modern audiences kind of... Like, it's a very 1940s movie, but it's still a very well-made movie.
It's well-paced, though.
Yeah, it's one of my personal favorites, too.
Yeah, like, there's maybe one part where it drags where the plot's not doing anything, and it's right at the beginning, but then it's so well-paced.
Oh, yeah, like, honestly.
It's...
Like, you don't even notice that the whole opening in Geppetto's house is, like, 26 minutes long. It just feels so natural, so easily flowing. It's great.
It's kind of funny because, like, Pinocchio, Jiminy, Wish Upon a Star, it's all very big in the Disney brand, but maybe the movie itself not so much.
Well, maybe before we talk about the remake, we should talk about what are our opinions of the original. Like, what base are we coming from with regards to Pinocchio, the Disney story as a whole?
Oh, yeah, like, me, I love Pinocchio. Like, it was a movie I used to watch pretty frequently as a kid, but I don't think, like, I acknowledged it in my head as a favorite back then. It was just something I watched a lot, but, like, as I grew up and started to, like, really notice what makes a good movie, and a good animated movie in particular, I was like, Pinocchio is the bee's knees. Like,
The cricket's knees.
The cricket's knees. The backgrounds are really detailed and cool. The character animation is just on point. Like, the pacing, again, is just so naturally flowing. I was actually thinking, because there's a lot of scenes where the characters are, just talking, and there's, like, no background music at all. And it's like, you don't see movies like that anymore. It's atmospheric. I love it.
Yeah.
This was the second feature.
Yeah.
Disney's second feature. And think about how young animation was at the time. But how technically competent that movie is. It's very, like, your main character's a puppet. So you can't even really reference, like, rotoscoping. Because he doesn't move like a person.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Monstro when we get to it.
Oh, Monstro. Oh.
But...
Griffin. What do you have to say?
What do you think, Figaro?
And my opinion of Pinocchio 1940 is it's honestly one of my favorite Disney movies, period. Just in terms of technical perfection, this movie it's either this movie, Fantasia, or Bambi that are just the most beautiful animation ever put on a film screen. Like,
yeah. It's very good.
The character animation is, oh god, like comparing the I've Got No Strings live action segment to the Disney animation, I'm like, this is a work of genius. Like, the subtlety of the character animation is so good. And in terms of effects animation, this is far and away, like, Disney's best. Like, there hasn't been an underwater scene or a scene of waves animated this well with this much detail put into everything. It's just,
And, like, that goes to the point as well at how, quote-unquote, primitive this movie is. Like, there's no CGI.
Yeah.
They were still figuring shit out while they were making this movie.
And yet they were able to animate Monstro.
I forget where I heard this. Carrie, you might be able to corroborate this, but I remember hearing a story that Pinocchio was such an intense production that everyone hated it, that by the time it was over, they were just throwing the cells all over the floor and just sliding around on them, just destroying the cells. And so that's why there's like no Pinocchio cells anywhere in the archives. They didn't have the archives at that point. Have you ever heard that story?
No, I didn't hear that story.
I forget where I heard it. I'll have to look.
Like, the notes that I have from the Walt Disney bio are the first draft of this movie followed the original book a bit too closely, and they had trouble because, let's be real, the character in the original book is kind of an asshole.
Well, he's a huge dick.
The Pinocchio they made it as an adorable lad, an angel. I'll protect him. But not this version!
This version would be better off as firewood.
Indeed. But yeah, also there were some really difficult story meetings. They rushed through the story meetings, and like with Snow White, Walt Disney pretty much knew the feature they were trying to make right from the beginning. He had this famous story meeting with the animators where he basically acted out the entire movie start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
Pinocchio, they didn't have that. Walt had a little bit of storytelling inspiration, but he was rushing a lot of scenes to the gag men as soon as they were like partially through conceptualization. So he ripped up half of the storyboards during Pinocchio when the film was dragging too much, is an anecdote that I heard.
Yeah, I guess it was a troubled production, which, for the second feature ever made in North America to be troubled, that's a bad track record. It's 50% bad. Anyway.
But yeah, there actually was not a story meeting similar to Snow White for Pinocchio. The animation crew never really got sold on it. They didn't really know where it was going. Pinocchio supposedly was Ben Sharpstein's idea, and it wasn't until, I don't know this name, Gustav Tengren came in, and he did some really pretty sketches of like old-style European towns, and that was actually the anchor of Pinocchio, was that beautiful European town background, which they just filled up the entire screen with it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Frank Thomas and some of his other animators did a couple of test sketches of Pinocchio being unable to walk and being dangled around, and that's finally when they started to get a grasp on the character.
That's what I mean. Imagine, like, making a character like that with zero precedence.
Yeah,
Which is kind of funny to say, because I saw a tweet today on, what's that, Lost Media, that actually there was going to be a Pinocchio movie produced in, like, 1930, and it would have been the first animated feature ever, but it ended up getting, like, lost. Anyway.
Yeah, like, they pretty much had ideas for a long time on what their first one was going to be. Like, the contenders were Bambi. Like, originally it was going to be Bambi, but then they realized, okay, we actually know how to do Snow White better, so let's do Snow White first.
Yeah.
And then Pinocchio was another one of those ideas, but again, they didn't really know what they were doing, so they stuck a pin in it and decided to make that second. And then Dumbo kind of just popped up out of nowhere, fully conceptualized.
Yeah, well.
Right out of the ether.
Right out of the mind vagina.
Yeah. Oh, and also at the beginning of Pinocchio 1940, you can see that they were considering doing Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland, but that's another one that they stuck a pin in and came back to later.
Yeah, the war pushed back a lot of their ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, it's a miracle that this movie came together as well as it did. But this was this was before the Disney strike and before, like, the studio kind of started fragmenting a bit because of the war. So this is Disney at the absolute peak of their success. This was right after Snow White came out and broke records. They were on a big high.
Yeah. And then they got big high and made like this Figaro screenshot that you just scrolled to. Figaro. So, how did they it up this year?
Yeah, so speaking of the big exterior shots, after or When You Wish Upon a Star, it starts with a big pan down shot from the sky to this Italian town. The remake, this is just a symptom of the problem, is basically the Disney castle slowly fades into being the town at the same time as Jiminy is floating down the screen. And because Jiminy Cricket is green with like red and blue clothes, he stands out so much from this like barely lit background that you're focusing on Jiminy. You don't even see the town at all. So there's no establishing shot for place. You're just immediately in the town being talked to and you're focusing on the characters. Like, they don't take any time to establish the atmosphere at all.
Yeah.
Which bothers me because the original is just so perfect with the atmosphere.
Like, yeah, I'm just looking at its screenshot. We have, like, the movies open in our monitors and, like, just looking at a screenshot of the
Geppetto's shop.
Geppetto shop in the original. Like, it's so detailed. This could be like a painting that someone did, like, that Bob Ross did or something.
It's cozy as hell.
And then you got this monstrosity.
Well, he's so green.
It's just really badly lit. Like, everything just... They tried to... Like, the original Pinocchio, Geppetto's shop has a lot of color in it. So everything stands out from this, like, really light tan background, where in the workshop here, the lighting just washes everything out into the wall and it just blends together. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just start right outside of his workshop, too. Like, yeah, like you said, we don't get any idea of where we are.
There's no love for the environment.
Especially Italy. Italy is f***ing beautiful. It's beautiful. What are you doing?
He's doing the hand thing, Carrie.
What's the matter, you Disney? What's the matter, you Robert Zemeckis?
The absolute beauty of the Alps in the background. It's muy delicious. Muy. I don't think that's an Italian word.
Muy.
It's delicioso.
Italio.
I'm actually of Italian ancestry, so I am very sorry.
I do too.
Yeah, also the original has this like charming shot of Jiminy Cricket hopping from his point of view, so the entire scene jumps up and down. It's cute.
Why didn't they replicate this in the... It's so easy to do. You just take the camera and you bounce, and you bounce, and you bounce.
But it's so cartoony. We can't have cartoony things in this world.
Even Mickey's Christmas Carol did this.
Robert Zemeckis...
It looks so cozy in there. Like,
he
the painting,
directed... I have such a hard time understanding Robert Zemeckis' decisions as a director.
What's his deal?
I don't know. But anyway, Becca was going to say something. I'll tear into Zemeckis later.
Just the shot, like the first shot of the interior of Geppetto's shop. It's so
it
cozy.
Looks so inviting.
I want to be there. Meanwhile, if we look at on my monitor where we have the other movie, it's just brown. It's just brown.
Just lots of brown.
One of the other decisions that they made that kind of changes the way it feels, the original Pinocchio used a lot more close shots. Like, they tend to be smaller shots with less in the frame. For some reason, Zemeckis used these wide shots of the interior where you can see almost the entire workshop. So it feels like, big and empty, as opposed to...
Go back to your screen for a second there, Jason. Like, on my screen... No, the cartoon.
Oh, the cartoon one.
On my screen, we have the establishing shot of the workshop, which is down from Jiminy's point of view. It's brown, and... On Jason's screen, we have the establishing shot of his workshop, which is like through the window with the fireplace. It looks so inviting. This movie has a funny aspect ratio.
The 4:3.
Yeah, but like, look here, Jason. Look at this one. Look at that one. Where do you want to go?
I want to go to there. I'm pointing to my monitor
with the nice one.
They also cut the scene where he's looking through the window and there's the cozy fire. Like,
that's the one we're talking about. Yeah.
I feel like maybe these decisions were made to keep the plot moving, but, like, you lose the establishing shots.
But you're, 20 minutes longer. Yeah. You can spend some time on atmosphere if you're, a 2-hour movie.
Oh, but if we do that, we won't have time for the scintillating plot elements of Geppetto's long-lost son and Tom Hanks muttering to himself for, 10 minutes straight.
You have to watch this movie with subtitles, people.
Yeah.
He's just mumbling.
I'm making a puppet.
The first time through, I did not process a word that he said. The second time through, I still didn't process it. I had to go back and watch it with subtitles. And he's actually, saying almost a poem about his sad backstory.
Yeah, he's singing, but not singing, but talking, but not talking.
It's a shame. Tom Hanks is a really good actor, but, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing?
This has got to be Tom Hanks' worst acting performance, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know. Some people are saying Elvis earlier this year.
Which I haven't seen, so I can't comment on.
Me neither.
Mm-hmm. I thought for a second he played Elvis. I was very confused. No, he was his agent.
I'm Elvis, and I'm gonna sing the hell out of you.
Yeah, also the original movie takes its time introducing things. You see one thing at a time. So first it introduces Jiminy, then it introduces the workshop, and then the first shot that you see of Cleo and Geppetto is them coming down the stairs. Then it introduces, like, Pinocchio is introduced just as an unfinished puppet, and then Geppetto and Cleo come down the stairs. Every single one of those gets a separate introduction.
Yeah.
Figaro is baby. I actually think Figaro in 2022, he looks okay. He looks like he looks like my childhood cat. I can't hate him. But the actual CGI, why is the CGI so bad?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
The cat looks green screened and the cat's not even real.
Then there's Cleo, who is just a monstrosity.
You can give a fish lips in a cartoon and it's endearing. You give a fish lips in life, I'm scared.
I think we both made the same note that, like, oh my god, Figaro's CGI looks terrible, but also, aw, kitty.
Yeah, like, yeah.
There's a shot of, like, Tom Hanks, Geppetto at the bench with Pinocchio's hat kind of on the foreground. Pinocchio doesn't look like he looks green screened. That's gotta be a prop, right?
That hat is the brightest thing in this whole house, and that makes it clash, I think.
Yeah, it's not lit the same way. That's why. Like, send that screenshot to Carrie.
Yeah, I don't think I can, because Disney sucks.
Yeah.
Honestly, the lighting in this entire movie is just really bad.
Yeah,
Like-
it's like that realistic, dark equals you can't see anything thing that movies are doing nowadays that I don't understand why. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take shoddily shot day for night scenes over this bullshit.
Like, a lot of the Disney remakes have story problems. This one, not only does it have story problems, but it has fundamental filmmaking problems. Like, shots that are just boring. Lighting that's bad. The sound mixing is hideous. You can't hear what Geppetto's saying. When we get to the Stromboli scene, you can't even hear the singing because the Wurlitzer organ is so loud. And, like, when you're out in the city, there's, like, it's so sterile sounding and... what were the sound artists thinking? What was the director thinking? What were the lighting people thinking? This movie makes me upset.
What were they thinking?
I sent you a couple screenshots there, Carrie, of the shot I'm talking about. Like, it's Geppetto and Pinocchio. You see his hat. To me, it doesn't look like he's actually there. It looks like he's, like, what do you call it, superimposed? Or, like,
added in post.
Added in post. But he's got to be a prop, right? Like, why does it look so bad? It's the lighting. It's the lighting's not consistent.
Pinocchio is the only element in the entire movie that retained the highly saturated colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like,
it.
again, the original uses a lot of very saturated colors. This movie, everything is very desaturated because desaturation equals realism.
Yep. Man, I feel like we could, like, address every issue in this movie just by talking about this first 3-hour-long scene.
Yeah, like, how is it that they're actually around the same time, like 20 minutes, and yet the remake feels longer?
Oh, I actually did a timing thing where I was curious, why is this dragging so much? So, let me pull this up. I'm scrolling through my notes, and there's so much of the Mushu speech. Dishonor! Dishonor on your whole family! Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your Clarabelle cow!
Yeah.
So, what I timed is the beginning of the movie to where Geppetto turns the music box on. And in the original animated movie, it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And the remake cuts a lot of the opening. So, you know, it doesn't give us the establishing shot with Jiminy. It doesn't give us the book. It doesn't give us the, like, float down and the hopping. It goes straight into the cabin. So by the time the live-action movie gets to introducing Geppetto, it's about 3 minutes in. In the original, Geppetto does not enter the frame until the 5-minute mark. And yet, where the point at where they turn the music box on in the remake is at 9.5 minutes. So there is 6 minutes and 20 seconds of Geppetto muttering to himself versus the introduction being 2 minutes in the animated feature. They tripled its length.
Jeez.
Oh, it drags so much. My God. Anyway, that's the exact timing of that, because that is one of those things that fascinated me, and I had to compare it directly and dissect it, because why is this so boring?
She did the math.
She did the math.
Show Carrie that.
I went to college!
I think a lot of Geppetto's mutterings would work if, like, he did the thing that we do and, like, had full-on conversations with his cat.
Yeah.
like, oh, Figaro, do you know what I wish? I don't know, what do you wish? like Bob from Bob's Burgers.
That's actually what they do in the original, by the way, is that Geppetto talks back and forth with Figaro and Cleo, and the camera cuts to Figaro and Cleo reacting, and then back to Geppetto. It's a dialogue.
You can get away with that because they're a lot more expressive in the original, and they try and make them expressive in this one, but, like, the shots are so badly composited that, like, composited, yeah. That, like, when Geppetto's getting into bed and he's like, oh, you know, blah, blah. And Figaro, like, rolls his eyes like, like, you can barely see him. Like, I have the subtitles on because I can't understand your fucking movie, and I can't see the cat doing the thing because the subtitles are over it.
If I can't see the cat, it's a problem, first of all.
The problem goes deeper than that, too. Here's the thing. The original movie constantly cut the camera back and forth. For some godforsaken reason, Robert Zemeckis decided to not cut the scenes. When he talks to Figaro, the camera doesn't cut. It just stays at this long shot, and then there's no reaction shot. There's no back and forth, no shot reverse shot. It just stays at that same angle. And it's like, cut. That's like my most common note as I was watching this was, cut! This is like a 50-second take. Cut!
Yeah, I have no idea what he was going for, because there was, like... He's done long takes in his movies before, but, like, there was a point to them. Like, there was stuff going on in them, you know?
Yeah, my assumption in this was maybe the reason he was doing it is because if you watch the original, Geppetto is a very warm, happy character. In this one, it's playing Geppetto more as, like, a sad, lonely old man who's lost everything. So the reason why you do the big wide shots...
in Geppetto.
Is because it fills the frame with empty space, and that makes him feel more lonely. But the problem is, they don't do anything to sell it beyond that, and it just goes on for way too long.
I was saying this to Jason yesterday, like...
As I was saying to the Duchess just yesterday. Anyway.
So I says to Mabel, I says, like, why give the sad boy backstory? And it really implies that, like, the boy's soul goes into Pinocchio. Ugh. Like, let's get to that later.
Jesus
but then they don't do anything with it. There's no... You could have an interesting angle where Geppetto expects Pinocchio to act like his son, but he doesn't. That would be interesting, though, so we can't have that.
They don't develop on it.
Yeah,
they introduce new concepts, but they're afraid to expand on them because this has to be Pinocchio 1940, the remake.
Like, they add in the idea that he had a family before and he's a widower now. And, like, what is the point of that? It makes it feel weird that... It just adds a weirdness to it that, like, doesn't make it feel genuine. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Another note that I have that I think summarizes this is, so what Geppetto's muttering about is, quote, not a toy, just a boy for a puppeteer, thinking way back when, I'm missing him again. And so this is important dialogue. It's the entire backstory. While this is happening, the camera it's a shot of Geppetto's back, and then Jiminy Cricket parkouring around the room. So what the camera is telling you is this isn't important. This is just a guy muttering at his workbench. Like, and so that's what it comes across as to me is like, I almost feel like Geppetto is like disturbed. He's talking to himself, especially since they don't cut to Figaro. He talks to Figaro and then you don't see the reaction shot from Figaro. So it just feels like he's talking to himself. It's weird.
Yeah.
Geppetto just comes across as kind of like almost deranged, not warm and I don't know. I don't like that decision at all.
1940 Geppetto is like a cute grandpa.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is scary.
But to be fair, Tom Hanks is not a Nazi sympathizer.
Oops. Not
like Geppetto's original voice actor, anyway.
Okay, I didn't know that. Well then.
Yep.
Are you canceling a
dead old movie? Man? Yes.
A man who's been dead for at least 70 years.
Yes. I am. That guy.
Yeah. One of my primary gripes...
Joseph Gordon-Levitt isn't racist, so...
That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, that's my primary gripe with the way they did Geppetto, is that they basically cut Figaro out of the movie. In the original, Figaro is like an equal participant, where in this one, it's, Figaro, what do you think, huh? And there's no reaction shot. You just see the cat stretching all the way at the bottom of the frame, like in an unimportant way.
Like, Figaro's just a box they had to tick off in the remake.
Yeah.
So, and Cleo, even more so.
Yeah, Cleo
Okay.
is barely in this.
Okay, and this is not charming. So the part where he's, like, playing with Pinocchio and making him, like, scare Figaro and just, like, messing with him, in the 2022 version, this is a horror movie.
It becomes a horror movie for a hot second.
He's just, like, creeping up on him. You could put horror music over that, and then they cut the best gag in the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what scene I'm talking about, right, Carrie? Where he's, like, got Pinocchio, like, crawling towards Figaro to bully him. And then in the new version, put a scare cord over that. It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Figaro looks traumatized in the new one.
I'm traumatized.
Where in the original, like, Figaro, yeah, he messed with him, but Figaro looked curious and baby, and Figaro is cute. He's one of my favorite Disney sidekick animals.
He's so cute. He's got such a great, like, 1930s animated animal look to him. And when he picks him up by the scruff, his eyes are pulled back, like what would actually happen to a cat. This is, like, the second feature animated movie ever, and they...
Butchered it.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the original.
Oh, yeah.
And they knew, like, the attention to detail.
Oh, that's a little problematic there.
Uh-oh.
I just noticed one of Geppetto's clocks is a little problematic, but that's fine.
But, like, so long ago, the craft being so new, the attention to detail, the polish, and then this shit.
Yeah, this shit. Just compare the clock scene in the original where it's charming and, like, the animators had a chance to, like, flex a little bit with this shit.
Where he's like,
oh,
any minute now, which kills the best gag in the original movie.
Yeah, what do we think about the Disney clocks?
Ugh.
They would have been cute in the background.
Yeah.
Like, there's a shot early on when Jiminy's parkouring and you see the Lion King clock in the background. That would have been enough.
I wouldn't have liked that either, though, because it's like Lion King is way too modern.
Like, I could let it go.
Kind of okay with the Lion King. There's other ones I'm not okay with.
You look at Lion King, and that looks like a movie that or a thing that belongs in the 90s.
Well, that's the thing,
Just to
too.
me.
It can't just be a 3D model of Pride Rock. There's got to be some subtlety. Like, this isn't subtle.
Like, even Sleeping Beauty, this feels beyond Pinocchio's time, because it is. Just the way that they're drawn, I guess, or molded.
There's a subtle way you can do Easter eggs like this.
It looks like it belongs in a Disney store.
It belongs in a museum!
Like, it looks like it belongs in the Disney store, not in
The movie.
1800s Italy.
This is not subtle. The entire frame is filled up with these clocks.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Yeah, I love the clock
One
scene
of
in
them
the original.
is Woody from Toy Story, a character based on a 1950s TV show about the Old West, which was late 1800s, early 1900s. The story is set in 1826 Italy, you clods!
Clods!
Is it actually set in 1826?
Yes, I looked this up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She did the math.
I thought it was like late 1800s.
This scene enraged me so much I had to look all this up. This show made me do research on what existed because it also mentions like styles of music that didn't exist in the time.
Yeah.
Influencer.
An influencer.
But yeah, so like the clocks fill the screen in the original too, but they're charming.
Yeah, they're charming. I love looking at them. I love this clock scene. It just has a
Look at
lot
that
of
turkey.
has a lot of personality, and it's just fun to listen. Like they're melodic, but
They're cute visual gags.
The remake it's not even melodic. It's just noise.
It's a cacophony, and even Jiminy's covering his ears.
All the noise.
Yeah, I would have been fine with the clocks being period appropriate. Like Snow White, I'll accept. Sleeping Beauty, I'll accept. Yeah. Dumbo, you're kind of stretching it, but maybe. But no, not Toy Story. And definitely not, what was the other one that made me mad?
Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit, which, again, that's
like,
based on...
Zemeckis. We get it. You made a good movie once.
Like you could have done a Lion King reference in just having, like, a lion roaring on a rock. It didn't have to be the Lion King. It can be a nod.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Disney stroking its own cock for, like, 20 seconds here. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
I really don't want to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I am fine with it as background elements, like Pixar subtly slipping in the Pizza Planet truck or
Yeah.
things like that are fine. Like, they don't fill the frame and force you to accept that this is a part of the world. It's just, oh, I didn't notice that. Haha. That's a thing they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an Easter egg because you're supposed to find it.
Yeah.
Easter egg.
Easter egg. I want an Easter egg. I want an Easter egg.
Oh no!
This is an ostrich egg, not an Easter egg.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, what happens next, Carrie?
All right, so after all that nonsense, okay, so after all this noise and music, Geppetto is going to bed, and...
Oh wait, they cut the best gag in the movie. I wonder what time it is. Instead, they make it
Yes.
weird that he waits for all the clocks to ring. That's weird. It's weird that they did that. I wonder what time it is the best joke in all of cinema.
Yeah, and
Go
then
ahead.
they're going to bed, and yet again, we get this high-angle wide shot of the entire workshop, and Tom Hanks slowly working his way over to his bed, slowly snuffing out the candle. This is another one of those shots that I had to time, because I'm like, cut!
Oh,
Cut!
what about the guy coming to buy the clocks? Has that happened before?
Oh yeah, no, that's before.
Yeah, what's that about? Why? Just to...
Geppetto!
Okay.
Please sell me the cuckoo clock with the cute duck.
And he's so Italian, it makes Tom Hanks less Italian by comparison, and he already wasn't very Italian.
I don't even think Tom Hanks is trying to do an Italian accent in this movie.
He definitely stops trying after a point. But
I never
like,
heard it in the first place.
Yeah, sometimes it's there, like, very faintly. It's like, I'm Tom Hanks, I don't have to do this. But, like, yeah, the scene with the guys with the clocks, I guess it sets up that later he sells all the clocks, but, like, I have no emotional attachment to this
Yeah, I
through
hate
line.
these clocks. I would love to sell them.
It's got something to do
Get
with,
them
like,
out of my house.
it's got something to do with how he misses his wife or something. But
Yeah,
I
your
don't-
wife had shit taste.
My wife loved these clocks.
I don't
Your
care!
If she loved these clocks, she deserved to die. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
I'm really tilted.
I was saying we could do a whole podcast episode just on this first scene because we're starting to run a little long, and we're still on the first scene. Let's keep
Blue
going.
Fairy hasn't even shown up yet.
A lot of these problems carry through to the whole movie, so we don't need to go in depth for the rest of it. But
No, we don't. Just
there's
cover
another
the
scene
really
that just
important
made
stuff.
me really angry where basically he's going to bed and the camera doesn't cut. I timed this. This is one of those scenes where it's like, cut.
They make you watch.
Cut.
They make you watch him undress and put on his pajamas. They don't. They don't actually.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh,
Jim-
I don't like Jiminy's feet. I don't like his feet.
No,
I don't like
just saw
his
his
feet.
feet. Oh, it's terrible.
This scene of him walking to bed, like, it's a scene of Geppetto's back walking over to the window, and it's still in a wide shot. Then another scene of Geppetto's back at the window muttering, "What a beautiful clear night." And then another
Where?
scene of Geppetto muttering as he slowly lays down in the bed and snuffs out the candle. It stays on this shot like, editor, cut! Cut! Do something!
What a beautiful night, he says without showing the sky.
Manos the Hands of Fate, MST3K, do something! Like, why is this in the movie? What is even happening here? The frame is saying nothing. The lighting is saying nothing. Geppetto's not doing anything. Cut!
They cut the second best gag. Figaro, I forgot to open the window. And then after Figaro opens the window, he springs up to look at the star. What an ass.
Dude,
Figaro, look! Look! The wishing star!
He
That's
sounds so
the-
cute and eager in the 40s version because he's an old man.
that's
but he's
the
so,
wishing star?
Is that it? That dot?
that
That
little
pixel?
dot?
Are you sure that's just not a dead pixel on your screen?
Jesus Christ.
So
I
the original
barely noticed that
the
thing.
original is still cutting back and forth between Geppetto and Figaro, and so the cut where he says, "Look, the wishing star," it's a close-up of him in bed, and then it goes out the window to look at the star. In this one, it's still this same long shot. Like, the same long shot that's been going on for a minute straight, like, slowly pans forward and kind of looks out the window, and way, 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 way off in the distance is, like, a tiny, tiny point of light that barely shows up at all.
I also take issue with him being like, I haven't seen the wishing star in years. It's like, the stars are consistent, my dude. Were you looking?
Yeah, that scene's like one of my biggest rages because I just don't know what the camera was trying to do. Zemeckis, Zemeckis, what were you doing? You're better than this. Dude,
This isn't charming.
what were you
Zemeckis-
thinking?
Dude, even when you made your motion capture movies, you at least knew how to move a camera.
Yeah.
It wasn't always great animation, but, like, it was still, movement.
It's almost like they just stapled his name on it.
Honestly, that's what I feel like. Like, Guy Ritchie directed Aladdin, you would never know just from, like, watching Aladdin. Tim Burton directed Dumbo, you wouldn't know just from watching Dumbo, except for, like, maybe the music by Danny Elfman, I guess.
And the Dreamland scene had a little bit of Burton flair.
A little bit, but, like, compare that to, like, the shit he made in his heyday in, like, the 80s and 90s. Like, anyone could have made those movies, but they get these big name directors to, like, sell them, I guess. That's my thought.
I do have a theory about this. So, noticing how the original is constantly cutting back and forth between Geppetto and Figaro and those, I think maybe they had no budget. There's rumors that after Dumbo, didn't do very well at the box office, that this one had its budget and ambition significantly cut and was pushed onto Disney Plus without a theatrical release. So
That
here's the thing.
explains the CGI.
Those long shots, even though they are terrible filmmaking, save a lot of money because then you don't have to animate a close-up shot of Figaro.
Yeah.
So that is my only guess for why it's like this, is just that Zemeckis had absolutely no budget, and so he just threw up his hands and said, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's my only guess. Otherwise,
I
I
have
no
a solution. I have a solution. Get a real fucking cat. He doesn't do anything that a real cat couldn't do because he's got no personality. He's got no
Clue.
character.
Oh, but what
Just get
about
a real
that
cat.
one shot of Figaro shaking his head, which looks terrible?
You can make a cat shake its head.
Maybe now that I think about it, maybe it's a good thing they didn't have more Figaro reaction shots. That shot looked terrible.
You can just make a cat, like, look blankly at you, and that tells a whole story in itself. You can put a personality onto a cat by yourself.
Cats have personalities. Look at Luna. Hi, Luna.
Yeah. Like, if I said, "Oh, Luna, am I crazy? Am I going crazy?" And I just look at Luna and she looks at me, it's like, yeah, that's... You could just put whatever reaction you wanted in that.
But yeah, here's the thing with long shots. Long shots are used to create a sense of hyper-realism. Like, the most famous example I can think of is the tracking shot from Children of Men, where the reason why they're doing the long shot is because you're supposed to be pulled into the grounded realism of that, and then all of a sudden all this stuff starts happening. So it makes it really visceral. There is no purpose for the long shot in this. It's just boring.
Yeah. I was
Anyway.
actually thinking about the, like, reaction shots. You remember, like, Cosmic Creepers and Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? Just do
Yes.
that with Figaro.
Yeah, that worked in Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah.
I like Cosmic.
Just clever editing tricks.
This still frame we're looking at of Geppetto, like, snuffing the candle with Figaro down in the bed. Figaro, it looks like a sticker applied to the screen. Like, it's so bad.
Someone could drag them on and just...
Like, why is it so
All
bad?
right. Anywho, we should probably start moving into quicker clips. So we've got our rants about the bad directing out of the way. So they did do some changes to the Blue Fairy scene. So what do we think
Okay.
about that?
Like,
I have a hot take.
Go ahead.
I would not usually be the person to say this sort of thing. I think diversity is great. But with how solidly they stuck to everything else in the movie, the fact that they changed her the way they did feels like trying to score woke points. And I'm not the kind of person who would normally say something like that. That's my hot take.
Like, if they had included more scenes with the Blue Fairy, this is her only scene. Why the fuck did you do that?
I don't know.
So many problems. Why does she act like she doesn't know what's going on?
Yeah,
I
it's like,
really hate that change.
it's like a whole meta joke where she doesn't show up at first. Like, the star blasts some energy beam at the dead sun's picture, and it reflects onto Pinocchio.
That
And
does
then, like,
happen.
2 minutes later, she comes in. All right, I'm here. Don't freak out now. Like, I wasn't freaking out yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
and
have
this
we
is-
here?
This is her only scene, and what's weird about that is, like, they add this seagull character and this, like, girl puppeteer character. It's like they wanted more female presence while cutting their female presence.
Yeah.
Like, it's baffling.
Oh, and they also added girls to the Pleasure Island group. Ooh, gender equality is solved. Good job, guys.
Good job. Yes, that was the problem with the original. Is Pleasure Island didn't have girls in it, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of what they did to the Blue Fairy scene. Just the original Blue Fairy, she speaks like my personal understanding of the original Pinocchio. It uses a lot of Christian symbolism. Like Geppetto is clearly kneeling to pray. They talk about the straight and narrow path, which is a Christian concept, and they talk about the still small voice, which is also a Christian concept. And then later in the movie, the Blue Fairy appears in the form of a white dove, which you could argue is the Holy Spirit symbolism, and swallowed by a whale, parallels to Jonah. So the original Blue Fairy is almost like a divine presence. She speaks with a lot of
confidence. She comes in with that "be not afraid" energy.
Yeah, and
exactly.
Like she's animated like much more realistically too. Like. They kind of rotoscope Geppetto in some cases, you can tell, but like she's very much rotoscoped, and that gives her a ethereal feeling.
Yeah.
There isn't much of an ethereal feeling with this new Blue Fairy, except that her wings move constantly.
Yeah, and
which is very distracting, by the way.
Yeah.
And she's just lit really dark like everything else.
Yeah.
Like why isn't she glowing?
Yeah. You can make her glowing. Also, you can make Jiminy horny. What's wrong with you guys? You took out all of Jiminy's bite.
All of his balls.
I made this joke a lot, like, the new version of Oklahoma is jokingly called Oklahoma that fucks.
Yeah,
Pinocchio 1940 is Pinocchio that fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Virgin 2022 Pinocchio versus the Chad 1940 Pinocchio.
They also cut the drinking and the smoking and the roughhousing
like
from Pleasure Island, but we'll get to that.
All of the conflict between Jiminy and Pinocchio is gone too. Like,
he's just always right.
Jiminy is always right. Pinocchio doesn't really do anything wrong. He's pressured into it every time.
A main character who does things wrong is not S&P approved.
Yeah.
By the way, I keep referencing that for those who don't know. Just Google Alex Hirsch, S&P approved.
Yeah.
You will have a great time looking at the Gravity Falls things that Disney Standard and Practices did not like. Have fun with that.
Ugh. And what was I going to say? Because I am angry.
I've been filing my nails this whole time. Sorry, listeners.
Like, Jiminy in the original had a personality beyond it just, I'm the conscience, I'm a good guy, ha ha ha, I know sirree, I'm gonna live till I'm 103. They reference that in this movie, that's kind of cute. And
he had to learn to be a real conscience, just like Pinocchio was a real boy.
They also give him this, like, complex where he's like, oh, I'm just a temporary conscience in this movie, but, like, they don't do anything with that. Like, it would make sense if they kept his original, like, kind of aloofness, but they don't. And they take out the scene in Pleasure Island where he, like, chews out Pinocchio and also tries to pick a fight with Lampwick. Yeah,
I'll knock your block off.
Yeah, I didn't even catch, like, when we watched it that he's like, oh, I'm just a temporary conscience, because he seems into it.
Yeah, and, like, Jiminy, like, he messes up as a conscience, too. He's not perfect. Like, he's ornery. He's like, go ahead, make a fool of yourself, then maybe you'll listen to me. And, like, in Pleasure Island, when Pinocchio calls Lampwick his best friend, he's like, your best friend? And what am I? Just your conscience. And he leaves. Like, he's not perfect. And that's what makes him likable.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Original Jiminy messes up a lot. Like, I mean, he sleeps in on the first day. He then, fails to convince Pinocchio to not go with Honest John. And he's just like, all right, well, I guess I'll quietly go out of his life. I guess I was wrong. And
yeah, and it would have solved a lot of problems if you did snitch on Pinocchio, Jiminy.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, I'll tell his father. No, that'd be snitching.
And we all know what happens to snitches.
And then when the Blue Fairy shows up in Stromboli's wagon, he's just like, leave me out of this.
Perhaps you haven't been telling the truth, Pinocchio. Perhaps.
Yeah, again.
Like, Jiminy is great. in the original.
They cut out, the rough edges of the original are what makes it charming. The characters are allowed to be flawed. So,
I mean, that's the point. He's got to learn to be a good boy.
Like, Pinocchio was literally born yesterday. It's not that he's an unlikable person for doing bad things. He's just very impressionable.
There's a really cute episode of Bluey called Born Yesterday. We should watch that instead.
Yeah. And that does lead into the Honest John scene. Let's talk about that next, because, God.
Yeah, let's jump ahead, because we're lingering. Oh, I feel like a dick saying this, and I don't like to say this sort of thing, but I don't like the Blue Fairy singing voice. I don't think she sang very good. She hits the high notes weird.
The thing that gets me about that is that she gets to sing half of When You Wish Upon a Star, which, whatever, fine. But, like, they don't tie it into the actual scene very well. Like, they talk about Pinocchio possibly having a complex, like, oh, Geppetto wanted a real boy, but you're here instead. And then, like, she sings, When You Wish Upon a Star. What does that have to do with anything? Like,
Geppetto wanted a real boy, but got you.
And since I'm the one that's been talking about the shot framing, the whole time she's singing When You Wish Upon a Star, Pinocchio and Jiminy are both in the frame, and she's singing to the camera. Who is she singing to? She's literally singing to the wall.
Yeah, like, the song doesn't have anything to do with what's in Pinocchio's heart. So, like the line before she sings is like, oh, what's real is about what's in your heart. And then she says, When you wish upon a star. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Oh, and by the way, as she's singing When You Wish Upon a Star, it's that same goddamn wide shot of the entire cabin, and she's facing the camera the whole time. So the camera is yet again telling us literally fucking nothing.
Ugh. Yeah.
Like, you have to augment the acting with film language. That is what movies are. Otherwise, it's like, okay, this is happening. I don't know why it's important. Anyway, rant over. I hate the filmmaking choices, in case it's not obvious.
Honestly. But, like, yeah, what I do actually love about, and when I say love, I mean actually, like,
fucking hate
about the remake is, like, how quickly Honest John and Gideon are introduced. Like, 1 minute... This is actually funny, too, because this is how the original does it, too. Like, 1 minute you're with Geppetto, like, happily going, my son's going to school, yay. And then, like, they're there in the next scene. But, like, in the original, I buy that they belong in this world.
Yeah, I want to go off on this.
In the remake, it cuts from, like, Jiminy fucking around with the seagull for some reason, and then they're just there, and it's like, oh, you're here now.
Very quick rant from me. They cut the establishing shot. The original has one of the best multi-plane camera shots in all of Disney history, and they just cut it. We're immediately at the exterior of Geppetto's house. So we never get an exterior of the town. We have no sense of, like, they show us the town bustling and all the kids running around, and then it slowly zooms into Geppetto's door all the way from the exterior of the town. It's beautiful. Nothing here. Nothing. They gave us nothing to replace that. Fuck you.
Honestly, yeah.
Okay, my turn to go off. So, first of all, I find it really funny that, like, it has this short montage that implies that, like, Pinocchio's been around for a few days, but then when he sends him out to go to school, it's like, what's that? That's the sun. Did he not let the boy look out a window?
Well, like, I think they're going for an angle where Geppetto might be agoraphobic in this version, but they also don't do much with that. Like, he has to kind of amp himself up to go outside and look for Pinocchio when the time comes, but, like, again, they didn't really establish that he was truly afraid of going outside, which would also explain why he didn't walk Pinocchio to school.
Yeah. But I gotta go off about Honest John and get in here. First of all, so I think on his own, Honest John is actually a pretty fun design. I think he looks pretty good. Gideon looks a fucking nightmare.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know why he looks so bad. I don't like looking at him. And I usually like looking at cats. But here's the problem. Here's the fundamental problem with these characters. It's the fact that you tried to be realistic. And I can't buy a fox standing up in the realistic setting. It works in a cartoon because my disbelief is already suspended.
Yeah.
Like, it's already a cartoon. I already am in Fantasyland mentally. But when you're trying to make it real, you're trying to sell it as real. A fox doesn't wear a top hat and walk around. It's harder to buy. But there's this, it's weird too, because Jiminy kind of has a cartoony look to him, and Pinocchio just looks lifted from the 1940s movie. So then you have this hyper-realistic fox and cat. It clashes. It doesn't work.
Also, the entire shot is overlit. It's so bright out there, so that just makes the lighting that much more difficult.
Oh man, just I'm looking at a screenshot here now. Pinocchio's skin just kind of blends in with the cobblestone.
Also, we skipped ahead from the best new addition to the movie, the scene where Pinocchio is in the middle of the street and looks at horse poop for about 10 seconds.
Here it is.
And he touches it.
He touches it. He touched it. Why does he touch it? Why does he touch the shit? Why is there shit in this movie?
I sure hope I'll learn about new things like this that I don't understand.
Oh my god.
I hate the way his forehead wrinkles.
It.
He smells it and then he touches it.
And then he dropped the apple near it.
I think I pointed out that like Honest John takes a bite of that apple later. Is like that? Is that what they're doing? Just wanted to have on the apple for him to bite. Anyway, like I was saying before, I think the voice acting's pretty good. I like Keegan-Michael Key as Honest John.
Yeah, and he actually does a good job with the song too.
Gideon's kind of a non-presence.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Figaro.
Yeah.
It's like, what do they do to the cats here? He's like, you forget he's there.
Like Gideon was mute in the original, but his character animation was on point, and like the 3 or 2 hiccups that Mel Blanc got to do were like, it still gave him a complete character.
And like the way Honest John grins is like how a real fox would like bare its teeth. You're going for too much realism. And then I gotta look at him next to Pinocchio, who looks like a cartoon. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
They also
Pinocchio.
don't know whether they're going for realism or cartooniness. There's a lot of very cartoony scenes with them.
Yeah.
They actually did the same kick thing.
So Pinocchio, we didn't really talk about the boy himself. He looks pretty much just like he did in the 1940s.
Why is he so tiny, though?
He's very weirdly small. First of all, he's not
so small.
It's strange. They gave him wooden hair. Maybe that was
Yeah.
easier to animate, but I don't like it.
Like you can get away with him having like actual hair in the original, because like it's animated. So who cares what parts of Pinocchio are wood or not wood?
And it could be like a fake hair, like a wig. But
Yeah.
I guess they probably saved a bit of money animating hair by making it wooden. And I hate the way his skin wrinkles, like his forehead crinkles and stuff when he like makes expressions. It
There.
It
Gross.
works. It works in a cartoon because, again, my disbelief is already suspended. But this boy is supposed to look like a real piece of wood, and you're telling me his forehead wrinkles? And don't even get me fucking started on his eyes. It's like they couldn't think of what to do with his eyes, so they just did nothing.
Yeah. Ugh.
I hate it. Because later there's a marionette, like a girl marionette, who like, her eyes are articulated like a puppet's would be. Why didn't they do that with Pinocchio? Like, why? They're just stickers. They're just stickers on his face. I hate it.
That puppet doesn't look very good either to me.
It doesn't look great, but, like, the eyes at least make sense.
I feel like that puppet looks better than Pinocchio. It looks
Well,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
puppet
Well, she-
belongs in the world more.
Well, yeah, because she's an actual prop. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's got, like, doll's eyes, like, that actually close. Pinocchio's, I don't get it. I can't even, like, really articulate it. It looks like just painted onto his face, but not in a good way.
Oh, there was a funny freeze frame where I paused it while Pinocchio had his eyes closed, and it looked like he had no eyes at all. Just,
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Yeah,
there was
yeah,
wood
yeah.
texture behind the eyes.
Yeah, like, they straight up didn't know how to do it, so they didn't try. And, like, I hate to say that because effects artists are doing their best with what they got, but...
Yeah, and they are so...
I feel like it's
Overworked
very
and
clear they
underpaid.
had no budget in this. That's the only
look
way
at the-
so much of this makes sense.
Apparently half the budget went into the detail on his gloves.
Oh, yeah, that's actually not bad.
But, like, why? The gloves are too much compared to the rest of them. It's bad. Character design is my passion.
Don't know.
Yeah, and like, can we skip ahead to the Stromboli bit, too? Because that... Ugh.
Quickly about Honest John and Gideon, the only
go ahead.
reason why they worked in the animated movie is because, again, the camera kept cutting back and forth between them, so you saw setup, payoff. Where this one is so insistent on these wide shots where everything is in the frame all at once, you barely even notice that Gideon is there. The camera
Exactly. Yeah.
pays no importance to Gideon.
And also, the original didn't have very forced modern humor when it came to Honest John.
Chris Pine.
an influenza.
I long for
Like,
the sweet embrace of death.
Apparently, the only...
What am I saying?
Then-
I don't want death. I want this to be dead. Die. Stop existing. I hate you. Go away.
Like, apparently in the original, there was a contemporary reference to, like, a jazz song when Honest John was, like, with a wiki-wacky something of the Floyd Joy. That's a jazz song, apparently. But, like, it works, because it's subtle.
I mean,
That was
settle
like
to
a
us
blink
now.
and you miss it
us now.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they said, "Oh, I got it. Your new name shall be Charlie Chaplin." I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about how the camera frames this. The other one, it just happens and then it's over. This one, they give him this big dramatic Chris Pine, and then there's a pause, almost like you're expecting the ba-doom. Like,
Yeah.
they're telling you have to pay attention to this. You cannot ignore it.
Pause for laughter.
Yes, literally.
Honestly.
Hate.
It's also kind of stupid how there's no build up to an actor's life for me either. It just kind of starts.
Yeah. The original way that they
And, like-
started is that High Diddly An Actor's Life for Me is part of Honest John convincing Pinocchio to come with him. Where here, he's already convinced him and then he just starts singing for no reason.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were doing.
And it's very dumb that he actually manages to get to school, but then the teacher throws him out because racism.
Yeah, it's like we can't just have him say no to school. We gotta have a reason for that he can't go to school, so he might as well be an actor. Like, he can't make that mistake.
Honestly.
The original's funny in that Jiminy Cricket gives him this whole spiel about, all right, so when they come back, this is what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them, I can't go to be an actor. I have to go to school. And then, and then they're like, Pinocchio. And he's like, and then immediately, bye, Jiminy. Like,
What? Goodbye.
little bastard.
Like, he's ignorant, but it's cute. He's such a little kid. We were talking about this in chat earlier, like when Honest John gives him his card and he keeps like trying to tell Lamp, look, I got his card. But it's like when a little kid's trying to tell you something, but you're not like really paying attention, they'll just kind of keep telling you with the same eagerness. Like, he doesn't get annoyed that he's not listening. He's just so excited about this card. And like you were saying, Carrie, it's like the writers back then like understood children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget whose kid this was based on, but like a lot of the old Disney animators based scenes of child characters on their own families, and
Yeah.
like the animators were in their 30s and like a couple in their early 40s by this point, so a lot of them had small kids. Like, this was very relatable to them.
Yeah.
I think it was Frank Thomas who did a lot of Pinocchio's animation, and I forget who the other one was. Fred Moore might have been involved. Not important, but...
Why is the crowd so small in the live-action version for Stromboli's show?
Yeah. I just noticed that, actually.
Because they had no
And it's like-
budget.
I guess.
Like, he still gets a sizable payday from Pinocchio in the remake, apparently.
Yeah, and it's in the town's like square, and there's so many people in the 40s version. But in the new version, he's in a field.
He's like in the outskirts.
Because I guess this is like an underground black market puppet show.
Why else would he get arrested later?
Yeah, that's true. He gets arrested later. It's strange.
And they never tell us why.
Because he captures Pinocchio in this version like he did the original, but like, Pinocchio was gone by the time he gets pulled over by the police. Maybe he was drunk. Maybe he was driving intoxicated.
I buy that one, because honestly, the actor plays him like he's perpetually drunk.
Yeah, like...
I'm not really scared of him. I can run away from this man.
No, like, the thing about Stromboli in the original, he's flamboyant and also intimidating.
Yeah, there's like...
They just made him drunk in the new one.
The eighth wonder of the world, a puppet who moves and sings on a dance without the aid of strings. Like, what a build-up.
Yeah, he's yeah, like I like how you said that. He's very flamboyant, but like there's something mildly threatening about him, and then when you see him get angry,
Yeah, like...
you know, it's scary. He's
yeah,
pretty scary.
when Pinocchio messes up and he flips out, but then remembers, oh yeah, there's an audience. I'm good.
Yeah.
They actually cut that from the live action. The scenes where he
Yeah.
gets really angry and just starts spouting Italian gibberish, but then like stops and realizes he's supposed to be polite, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my little Pinocchio. Oh, not a friend again to the fault." Yeah, just
We had to cut that for girl.
For girl. God, I hate this character. I hate this character. She adds nothing of substance to the movie.
Okay, so she has like not a prosthetic leg, but some kind of mechanism on her foot because of
I
an
think it's a
accident.
brace.
A brace.
Yeah.
But why?
Like, she has potential. I'll give her that. She has potential to add something to the movie. But she doesn't.
But like, I don't get the purpose of the brace because he's like, "Oh, you have wood on you too," or whatever. So, okay. But then he still ends up being distrustful of her and has to talk to her through the puppet.
Yeah. Oh, God, I hate that. I hate that so much. They give him a
Fabiana-
complex... Go
Yeah.
ahead, sorry.
Fabiana's like, you finish your thing. Mine's just my opinion on it. So continue your thoughts.
No, like, I'm thinking, like, they give him Pinocchio. They give him this complex after after he's caged by Stromboli, which we'll talk more about that in a minute, I'm sure. But they give him a complex where he's like, I don't trust people. They hate me. I only like puppets. So Fabiana, the girl, has to talk with him through her puppet, which is an interesting idea. I'll give you that. But if Pinocchio is so distrusting of normal people that he has to talk through a puppet to the one person who was nice to him, why the hell does he go to Pleasure Island?
peer pressure,
Right?
peer pressure.
But it doesn't track. What was your opinion?
Yeah,
Jerry?
what was your...
So, I made a list in the notes of things that I didn't hate and things that I absolutely hated. One of the things that I didn't hate and thought was a fair change was Fabiana and Sabina. Like, I don't hate them. They weren't I don't think they were necessary to the story. What I do hate is the stupid subplot where they're trying to take over the puppet show and
Yeah.
why? No.
They got a girl boss the puppet show.
I'm pretty much in the same boat as you, Carrie. Like, she's fine, but why is she here?
Yeah, it's just... She's fine, but her presence and the fact that she adds nothing of substance to the story makes
Yeah.
me hate her inclusion.
I'm so baffled. Like, I didn't really think about this very much before, but why the brace? Why have that relatable thread between them only for him to just still not trust her anyway? You could have played it differently. Like, oh, she's part wood, so maybe she understands me. She became a real girl. Like, you could do a lot of things, like with Pinocchio's misunderstanding the situation. Like, you could do anything. And then the salsa dance.
Yeah, the salsa...
More modern references that did not exist yet.
Yet. And, like, they cut out the scene with Pinocchio and Stromboli where Stromboli's counting his money. He's like, oh, bravo, Pinocchio. You're a sensational. You are colossal. Like, again, shades of intimidation while still being, like, jovial at the time.
Nice use of jovial.
Yeah, nice job.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you get that shift where Pinocchio's like, oh, I'll go right home and tell my father, and Stromboli's like, go home to your father, and then just, like, there's a dark shift where he throws him in the cage, there, this will be your home. There is no shift in the remake.
Look at
It's
that onion,
just,
though. Look at that onion. That's a well-drawn onion. Did they rotoscope that onion?
who knows?
That looks like an onion.
But there's no shift in the remake. It's Stromboli, like, taking him from Fabiana, like, oh, Pinocchio, I was so worried about you, ho ho ho, and then just wham! Get in that cage.
Fuck you. F them kids. F them puppets. Why
yeah.
does... Whoa!
They
hang on,
cut
that
so
walk's
many
not even a
things.
prop.
They cut so many things that just made the characters work in the original for the sake of things that are different but don't accomplish the same thing.
That was just a weird CGI padlock, wasn't it?
No, I think it's real.
I don't know.
It
Go
just
back.
looks kind of weird.
Go back a second.
I'm not sure.
Why are so many of the props CGI? I don't think that's real, hun.
I don't know.
What I do hate is that they changed this scene away from the Blue Fairy and now it's just Pinocchio and Jiminy.
Yeah, ugh, that's stupid. I will push you in the public side.
So here's another thing. This ties into the Blue Fairy being more of a divine presence in the original, is when the Blue Fairy comes, Pinocchio's like, oh no, I screwed up. What do I tell her? And that's why he lies. It's motivated.
Yeah. He doesn't really have motivation to lie to Jiminy.
Oh, and we didn't talk
Jiminy-
about the stupid planting and payoff that Jiminy happened with getting trapped in the jar.
I hate that. Like, whoa, this
Man.
gravel. Yeah.
Somebody's got to fix this loose gravel. Something could shoot out and hit someone. And then this is one of the shots that baffled me the most is like he's trapped in the jar. No!
Yeah.
No! Is this a joke?
Yeah,
is this
it's
really
supposed to be
being
funny.
played straight? What is this?
Because, like, yeah. That's the reason Jiminy gets caught in a glass jar by Honest John and Gideon, who can see him, I guess. Well, I mean, they could always see him, but, like, very few characters perceived Jiminy in the original. And I don't necessarily know if it's, better that, like, he's mostly a secret in the original, but, like, the fact that more people know about him in this one doesn't add anything,
I also have to talk quickly about how many times things are repeated in the script. So,
Ugh, yeah.
the worst
beer,
instance
root
of
beer,
this,
root beer.
yes, root beer is one of them. Another one
Root
is Geppetto, like, after the Blue Fairy sound, I heard something. Figaro, I heard something. Did you hear something, Figaro? I heard something. Yes, I did.
There's no way out of here. It'll be dark soon.
They repeated
There's no way
7
out of here.
times. Why? Another one is Pinocchio's name, Pine. Pinocchio. Pinocchio. Because he's made of pine. We get it! We fucking get it! We're not!
It's
And
not
they-
funny. That's not even what Pinocchio means. Like, they didn't explain the Okio part, which is I.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing in this scene too, where, they over-explain. I forget what it was that triggered that. Yeah, the loose gravel. They over-explain the loose gravel gag, so...
Yeah.
It didn't need to be explained. The jar could have just been knocked over. If you must. I guess it's a brick joke or a gravel joke, but I don't care.
Probably
it's
because the
just
gravel
bad.
looks like such fake CGI that they knew that if they didn't plant it in the script, nobody would buy it because it looks so fake.
Oh, it's
Honestly.
like in old cartoons when like the background, but one bush was clearly painted on a cell, so you're like, oh, that bush is gonna do something.
Yeah.
Oh, this gravel's gonna do something.
Yeah, and then again, later in the movie, root beer. Oh boy, root beer. I want some root beer. Here, kids, root beer. Just, we get it!
I love-hate that because they really want you to know that it's not
beer.
It's not beer, guys. It's
Not beer
root
this time.
beer.
They're drinking on Pleasure Island. Let's talk about Pleasure Island now. Because, ooh.
Why are his eyes concave? I hate that.
Ooh, they took out one of the best scenes that, like, plant terror, the build up of terror. The scene in the Red Lobster Inn between Honest John, Gideon, and the coachman.
As boys.
That scene is so good. It's dripping in atmosphere. It starts, like, outside.
Outside the Red Lobster.
Yeah, dimly lit fog. We zoom into the Red Lobster Inn. We go inside. Honest John, Gideon, the coachman, they're all sitting at a table.
The coachman is kind of like adorable when you just look at him. Like he could be a good guy in another movie, and then he's scary.
He's
Then
just a
fucking
roly-poly
terrifying.
old man.
He is roly-poly. Look at him.
Yeah,
He looks like a seven dwarf.
Honest John is going off about how they conned Pinocchio, and he's just waiting for him to finish, and it's like, okay, here's my job offer for you. I fix these bad, stupid little boys to Pleasure Island. He's like, Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island? But the law, suppose they? And like,
The law. What law?
I think it's either...
No. They'll never come
says-
back as boys.
Boys. Like, that plants the immediate idea that, okay, Honest John is scared of Pleasure Island. Something's up with Pleasure Island. Then this guy does his demon face, and it's like, all right,
So it's like something
this is a bad place.
something appealing on the outside, but there's something going on inside.
Yeah.
Also, as he's talking to Honest John and Gideon, he's like, bring him to me. Any good prospects? Couch leaves it. The camera is like slowly zooming out and it's fading away. It's almost like the camera is terrified. The camera is like,
Yeah.
okay, we're running away. This is bad.
It's a bad time. They set up that it's going to be a bad time. In the remake, Pinocchio just literally runs across the coachman as it's going to Pleasure Island, and he gets swooped
What is-
up by Lampwick.
This GoPro-ass shot of him running down the alley.
He's scooped up in a net. He's just walking down the street, and then all of a sudden, scoop! And he's just dumped in the front seat next to Lampwick.
How do you do? My name's Lampwick. I got a bad British accent.
Are those boy donkeys?
Maybe they're girl donkeys. You don't
Oh,
know.
right, yeah, because it's the girls, too.
Oh, sometimes, like, the camera will, like, zoom out between, like, the kids in the crowd, and it looks like the Polar Express kids. That's scary.
Why is Pinocchio so tiny? Why is he 2 feet tall?
Yeah, he was, like, almost Lampwick-sized in the original. I think his size might have actually shifted when needed, but, like, you could get away with that
In a cartoon, yeah.
in the cartoon.
See, here's the thing, too,
But, like-
is that this is where the size is distracting, because when they, like, plop him down into the coach, oh, there's a nice little box for him to sit on. And then when he gets to Pleasure Island, oh, okay, I guess there's just 2 pillows there, and he's sitting on the 2 pillows. Great way to cheaply save money by giving him a cop-out.
Yeah. The thing, too, in the 4D version, like Lampwick, he is smaller than Lampwick, but Lampwick is also a cartoon and proportioned like a cartoon, so he's not proportioned like an actual 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That's a scary shot. Why are they screaming? Anyway.
Oh, also, they used the stock kid yell sound effect, the no thing.
God, I hate stock kid sounds. There's very few things that actually drive my teeth on edge when it comes to, like, movie cliches, but stock sound effects, every time I hear them, except for the Wilhelm scream, I go like, ugh, why are we still using this?
Yeah, has there been no kids in Hollywood since?
Like that
I could go
crowd,
to dark places with that comment, but...
like that crowd sound effects, like, whoa-wee! Like, shut up!
that baby cry sound.
Quiet! Shut up! Before I knock you, silly!
Yeah, and then the coachman gets a song in this for reasons.
Yeah, like, Luke Evans, he can sing very well, but
not
the
scared-
song has no melody.
I am zero scared of him.
Yeah. Like,
He's speaking in this dramatic, like, Cockney accent, like, on Pleasure Isle, take that for... Like,
he was more intimidating as Gaston, honestly.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, he played Gaston in the
why is that shot
Beauty
so
and the
bad?
Beast remake.
I wonder this a lot in the movie. Like, were all of the actors, like, trying to do a parody of a villain? It feels like, no, these can't be serious performances. Is this really what they were trying to do?
Like, maybe they were trying to be campy, but, like...
This is not... That's a green screen.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty bad green screen, too.
They're green screened onto the coach. And Jiminy, like, under the wheel there, that looked like video game graphics. We can do better with money.
We can do better.
Oh, by the way, speaking of tone problems, I forgot to mention that when Honest John is hit with the mallet, they actually do the, like, and have, like, the boing sound effect with his tail. It's so fucking cartoony, and yet the movie's aesthetic is trying to make it look real. Pick a tone!
So it looks like he fucking died.
Yeah, like I was going off before, like, with his design, like, you can't have it both ways. You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah, to be fair, you know, it's hard to get the tone right on this.
Yeah. But don't worry, they added girls to the coach. We did it, guys. Like we said before.
Sexism is over!
Girls can be turned into donkeys too now. Good job.
And don't forget, real boys always want more, and real girls like the what's the line?
Real boys more.
Yeah. Real girls always like the real boys more. Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, cool.
Like, I don't know why they made the coachman so not intimidating.
I'm not scared of him.
I'm not scared of him at all.
I'm not, but, like, and there's something, like, endearing about his design the first time you see him, and then he becomes scary. This, what is this in the new version? Like, why? He's not endearing or scary. He's nothing. Like, he looks like a grandpa, but then he's gonna hit somebody.
Yeah.
Like a grandpa who hits.
Yeah, so also another change that they made is that, you know, they cut out the Blue Fairies extra scenes. They also cut out Honest John and Gideon's other scenes.
Yeah,
like, it's Honest
yeah.
John that convinces Pinocchio to go to Pleasure Island. And,
Yeah, so like...
and he's so smooth with it, too. Like, he doesn't even let Pinocchio talk. He's just like, you need a vacation. But I'm, of course. And, like... He's such a smooth talker in the original.
And it's like, it feels like their presence is just wasted. Like, once their scene is done, you forget all about them. Whereas in the original, even Stromboli, who only had, like, the one scene, major scene, you remember him even though he was only in the movie for 5 minutes.
Do they have, like, a shot of the clown looming over Pleasure Island in this version?
Not really. Pleasure Island in the remake, to be fair, does look pretty fun. But there
was the clown. It was
there.
there.
Yeah, he's there, but
he was cut out of frame.
Yeah. But, like...
They have the clown face, like where it says Pleasure Island, in lights.
Yeah.
There's the clown face.
Barely. It's like...
there's the Rough House guy. It's...
okay.
The Rough House. It's the Rough House.
The roughest, toughest joint. Oh boy,
there's the clown. Okay. Give me a break.
That Kit Kat bar. Sarsaparilla. They have sarsaparilla.
All right, they neutered Pleasure Island.
They totally did.
They took its balls just like they took Jiminy's.
Like, this is like a rant that I want to go on, is just, the original, they were, like, the premise was, give a boy enough space, he'll make a jackass out of himself. So they kind of, like, plant the seed of them misbehaving, and then it just spirals out of control until the entire place is destroyed. Clearly, they did bad. Where, in the remake... it just looks like Coney Island, and oh no, the kids are drinking root beer.
Root beer.
And oh no, they're breaking clocks in the designated clock breaking area, and breaking down the house in the designated house breaking area.
It's all very organized chaos.
That's CGI! The cup is CGI! Go back!
I agree. I believe you.
The cup that Lampwick is holding in the boat.
Oh yeah,
it's
God.
It's not...
Oh, look, God. The way his hand... Oh.
Did they have no props? Like,
not even glass cups?
They didn't even have, like, a mug for Lampwick to
Robert
hold.
Zemeckis, hold on.
There was one scene where Lampwick gets the root beer and downs it. It's gone in, like, half a second in 2 gulps. I'm like, fake, like, lame.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Why? Was that seriously cheaper than acquiring a glass mug?
I can get you a mug, Robert Zemeckis. There are several in my kitchen.
We can get you a mug, man. Are you alright?
I do love this kid.
Bobby, are you okay?
I love this kid who goes up to Pinocchio and is like, give me that root beer! Like, oh, what? Alright. Yeah, this kid.
Yeah, the original has smoking, drinking, fighting, wanton destruction, defacing famous artworks, and the remake has, oh no, root beer, candy, fireworks, whatever
like
the contempt corner is. And when they're smashing the clock, it's in rhythm. It's bump, bump. Like, that is not the point of this scene. Like, it's supposed to feel like wanton destruction, not synchronized and planned.
Oh, the girls are stealing a dollhouse.
Oh, good job, guys.
The designated shoplifting store for shoplifting.
Yep.
Shoplifting.
Yeah, it's like organized chaos. That's not what Pleasure Island is. In the original, you can see the boys are just running amok. They're destroying it. They're destroying everything they can get their hands on.
Yeah, and there's also that nice establishing shot of like, all right, close the doors. Give these boys enough time, they'll make a jackass out of themselves. And you're like, oh boy, what's gonna happen? You know it's coming.
The shadow creatures.
Where here, they don't foreshadow it at all.
Not at all. Like, it feels like the whole Pleasure Island scene should have been part of the Coachman song, but it's not. And then he comes back in with the song at the end, and Luke Evans does do a pretty good, like, long note at the end, but then it just kind of ends, and it's like, what was the point of that?
Here's another thing that really, really irked me, is that in the remake, Pinocchio doesn't participate at all.
No. He's
well,
like...
He can't do a bad.
Then it'd be bad.
Disney Standards and Practices disapproves of a character doing things that are bad in a movie that's about choosing between good and bad. You clods!
And I hate this transition. We cut from Geppetto finding out that his son is on Pleasure Island. He's like, "This is a catastrophe!" And then, bam, we're in the pool house. Like, what was that cut? What was that? What was that transition?
They didn't transition from, like, his mustache to a tree or anything.
What the hell was that? Like, in the original, it fades out from everyone having fun to the aftermath, to Pleasure Island being completely decimated and isolated.
But they also do a really cool thing with the lighting. Like, most of the movie has been lit more realistically. In the aftermath of the Pleasure Island, there's green lighting, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, and like they fade out from like the shot of the carousel and like the Ferris wheel to the same shot, but destroyed. It's actually really effective.
Can we just give up on the remake and watch the original? Original good, remake bad.
Good.
I think we got to talk about a couple more things, like
the donkey scene in particular.
Like how I'm not scared.
Yeah. They really dropped the ball on that. They did not.
The billiard balls.
They did not drop the ball on the shadow creature, surprisingly.
Yeah, the shadow creatures were definitely. I liked that design.
Like the first time they popped up, I was like, "Whoa, okay." Because, like, in the original, they're kind of shadowy blob men where you could kind of imagine they're real people.
Yeah, it's more like ambiguous features.
But then in the remake, they just pop out of the, like,
ground
and are there, and they snatch up the donkeys as soon as they turn and just rip off their clothes, and it's like, okay, of all the things for you to surprisingly nail, I didn't expect the shadow creatures to be that.
They're cool. Yeah, and they slip back into the sewers. But yeah, Lampwick turning into a donkey doesn't have the same bite.
Oh, because there's no build-up.
Also, why is Pinocchio turning into a donkey at all? What did he do?
He drank a root beer, Carrie. He drank root beer.
No,
Carrie. That's like in the original.
In the original, Pinocchio buys into it, like in the roughhouse scene. Lampwick's like, "Oh boy, a scrap. Let's go poke someone in the nose." Why? Just for the fun of it. Okay,
Lampy.
And then Jiminy comes and, like, he's bought into it totally. He's like, wow, being bad sure is fun. Like, and he's drinking and he's smoking. He, like, original Pinocchio actually, participates. So
original Pinocchio fucks.
You know what's coming. You know what's coming, and it's horrifying. And there's no foreshadowing in it. It's just he starts turning into a donkey, and okay.
Like, I understand that you don't want to show your main character smoking in a 2022 movie, whatever. But, like, in the original, they make a point of showing you why it's bad. He, like, inhales an entire cigar, and then just, it spends a good, like, 30 seconds just showing the negative side effects, and it's funny, and it's like it paints a good picture why you shouldn't do this, because like I never had a desire to smoke, probably because of this movie, and I know Roger Ebert said this movie was a main reason why he never touched a cigar.
Yeah,
Pinocchio goes through the entire color spectrum after smoking it,
because like you can portray something bad without glorifying it, and they don't glorify it in the 40s version.
No.
That's the thing. But there's nothing wrong with drinking a root beer.
There is nothing wrong with drinking root beer.
So here's the thing. Like, the conservative Christian take on movies kind of, I feel like, poisoned the well. Because the site Cap Alert, which a lot of people made fun of in, like, the late 2000s, they don't care if it's portrayed in a positive or negative light. They believe that you shouldn't show it at all. And so, like, if a movie had smoking, they would dock it for showing smoking, regardless of the context of the movie. And I feel like that just poisoned the minds of Disney S&P.
Yeah. Like how in Saving Mr. Banks, they never showed Tom Hanks' Walt Disney with a cigarette. They had showed him coughing a couple times, but like that man didn't smoke like a chimney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, I'm not pro-smoking. It's really bad, but, it's fine to show it as a bad. The whole point of the movie is that it's bad. Why?
I wonder if it's... Because, like, you can have your villains doing bad things and, like, smoking, for example, and, like, the audience should be able to recognize that you're not glorifying it because that's the villain. But I wonder if it's kind of got ties to how every villain these days has, like, the tragic backstory, so no one's really bad or all badness is justified, and, I don't know.
I have no clue. This movie breaks my brain. I'm done analyzing it.
I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't, like, try and fix Pleasure Island by having Pinocchio save all the donkeys or some shit.
No, they're fucking dead.
Yeah, it's same as the original. The coachman just gets away with it. He's all like, "Oh, damn," or "bollocks." wooden donkey would have sold for millions. Oh, well, I'll go back to the other donkeys I have.
I'll eat them. The last thing I want to talk about is Monstro, because I don't understand why they made Monstro a monster. That's a little on the nose, guys. I liked... Why can't he just be a whale?
Why couldn't he just be a whale? He looked super intimidating as just a sperm whale.
That's another weird thing of mixing, like, the fantasy and reality. What's with all these tentacles? Like, I think it's a fine design, but it doesn't belong here.
I hate everything about this climax. Literally everything.
It's so bad.
Oh, remember how there's, like, several scenes of, like, foreshadowing Pinocchio's motorboat feet? Like, early on when he's, like, scrubbing on the floor or dancing on hedges on fire?
Hate.
Even with that foreshadowing, quote unquote, when he does the speedboat thing, I'm like, how the hell is he doing that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but...
I don't care about the mechanics. I care that it kills the tension of the climax.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's like a bad version of Dash from Incredibles.
Yeah,
Also, like, what made the original so terrifying in terms of the pacing is that they are on a raft. It's two tiny little humans on this makeshift raft against this whale that's like 10 times their size and makes like tidal waves when he crashes down. They're screwed.
Monstro is so beautifully animated. I
struggle to imagine that just even one guy could do this. Like, Wolfgang Reitherman, good job.
I can't get over, like, how he's rendered, like, the coloring of his cell. Like, I don't know what exactly they did. It's not solid like everything else, but it adds such a vibe to it for me. Like, there's shots, like, there was a shot earlier, we're watching the scene now, where, like, some fish were swimming by, and he fills the frame, and when he opens his eyes, the whole background shifts, because the whole background is his body.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And, like, this scene where it starts smoking... It took me years to figure out you can actually see Monstro's eyes on the side of his head.
Yeah.
And, like, he's actually oddly expressive in a funny way.
Yeah.
But when he's pissed, he is pissed, and it's scary. Like, when he's done sneezing, and they've gotten out of him, and he just, like, fucking goes ballistic, like... It's like, oh god, I'm scared.
One of the most epic sound effects in Disney history. Like, the build-up to the sneeze.
Yeah.
Like, oh jeez, it's so
time.
big.
And the water, the animation on that water. And this is like what I keep saying. This was the second feature-length animated movie from North America ever. And look at that water.
Oh, it's so good.
Disney, by the way, is still referencing this water animation to this day because they're never going to top this.
No.
It's so good.
It's
like,
this
even
scene
Little
in
Mermaid couldn't
particular
top
that
this.
makes me say that it's like Disney's best water animation.
Absolutely.
Like, Little Mermaid, 50% took place underwater. It's not as good as this.
No.
It's so good.
And then you have the remake, where I just saw the scene where they're, like, riding a tidal wave, and it looks so fake.
Here's another thing that I
Lord.
hated about this. In the original, basically, Pinocchio learns that Geppetto was swallowed by a whale, and Jiminy's like, no, Monstro is a monster of a whale. And he's like, goodbye, Jiminy, and is like tying a tail to his rock, and then Jiminy's finally like,
To a rock.
all right, son, if you're going, I'm going with you. And the way that they do the underwater shot, it really builds up Pinocchio's character arc, and also this is like the culminating thing where he's being unselfish.
Yeah.
And the underwater shot also changes the scene. This is the first time we've seen a shot that looks like this, so it pops off the screen with importance. Like, the scene is telling you this is a big thing. Where in the remake, okay, I guess we're just still above the water, still brightly daytime lit. This is a very peaceful shoreline. I want to take a vacation here, kick on some flip-flops.
Although I will say, the one other, like, funny line in the remake that I actually laughed at was when Pinocchio, like, tells Geppetto what he's been up to, and Geppetto's like, you did all that in one day? Like, it's very on the nose, but it's actually kind of funny.
It is a lot.
Because, like, the whole of the original movie took place in one day, too.
Yeah. That's the kind of self-referential humor that's, that's cute. It's not, like, shitting on itself, or on the old version. It's just like, wow, that's a lot.
Because it is a lot.
I just want to watch the Monstro scene from the original
it's
version.
so good.
Look at that water. How did they do that? I don't even know.
Lots and lots of hand-painted cells.
Yeah.
It's so tense, too. Like, oh.
Like, they fall in the water like, shit, dude. And I find something about him being an actual monster bothers me versus being just a regular... Well, not a regular whale. He's a fucking monster. But, that's... It has more of a fairy tale vibe to me that he's a whale.
Yeah, but he laughs. The new Monstro laughs evilly.
Oh my god. No.
Also,
he's evil.
cutting the underwater scene cuts the build-up. Like, there's the scene where they're asking where to find Monstro, and every fish they ask just, darts away in terror.
Yeah.
So, again, atmosphere. The remake cut all the atmospheric establishing shots. I think they were afraid that they'd be boring, but, those are what gives the movie a sense of place and atmosphere and scale. If you don't establish the scale, then you can't adequately make something look big.
Yeah. And then Pinocchio dies. Or Geppetto dies.
Geppetto dies in the new one. Which was apparently an alternate ending for the original, but... They changed it?
Well, it's like how Cats 2019 was like, we'll use the original melody for Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser. That's what the fans want.
Bad.
There's a reason they changed it.
Yeah, because it didn't work.
No. They didn't use the original ending. They changed the original ending, too. The original ending still had Pinocchio become... it was on that beachside scene that... Geppetto wakes up and Pinocchio is a real boy. So it just condensed it. It was still the same ending. Here they changed it. Geppetto gives this big spiel about how, when I first met you, you might have thought that I wanted something different. But, and then as they walk off and you don't know if Pinocchio became real or not, it's just, it's not the original ending. They took inspiration from the original ending, but they still changed it.
Yeah. And he changes into a, oh god, he looks terrible as a real boy. It looks terrifying.
Yeah, why make it ambiguous? His whole goal was to become a real boy. Did they really...
Oh, but didn't you hear the Blue Fairy spiel where, so in the original he asks, am I a real boy? And she says, no, Pinocchio, but you can become one if you prove yourself. Where this one is where here it's ambiguous whether he's real or not at the beginning. The fairy doesn't say no, but he has to earn it. We actually don't even know that that's what he's earning. He just says, well, I want to be a real boy because I think that's what my father wants.
Yeah.
The shot of Pinocchio dead in the puddle is kind of really disturbing, actually.
Yeah.
The original movie goes hard.
Yeah.
He's just fucking dead.
There's
a reason why people reference that as one of Disney's darker movies. They don't sand away the edges on it.
No. You would with Pine.
It's sad, actually, that he's dead. Even though you'll know he'll probably be okay. It's sad because
Jason, you didn't know this at the time. This was only the second full-length animated feature, so Snow White ended well. But that's just a precedent. Yeah. We don't know. Maybe all animated movies are going to end in a really bad time with Figaro crying.
Even Figaro cries. It's sad, but I feel nothing for Geppetto in the new one.
Yeah, that guy.
Even though he's Tom Hanks. If you make me feel nothing for Tom Hanks, you did something wrong.
They really messed up the timing on the ending. There's just, they extend the scenes, they don't... Again, it's just a filmmaking mess. Also, there's one change I really want to rant about, and that is Pinocchio completes his character arc before Monstro swallows him and Geppetto.
Mm.
So, Pinocchio has this scene with Sabina and Fabiana where he decides that he's going to go after his father instead of joining their circus or their puppet show, which now they've taken over, and it's the
That's
puppeteers.
where they say that Stromboli got arrested off screen. Why? Why is he the only one who gets punished?
I hate this frame we're looking at. He looks so terrible. And then they have the audacity to close the movie on the book.
Oh yeah, how the Jungle Book did it, but when the Jungle Book did it, it was charming and the original one. That's a good movie too. But no.
Quickly, can I finish the thing that I was saying?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so now his character arc is complete, and the whale swallowing is just, okay, that's a thing that happened. Where in the original, Geppetto's swallowed, and this choice to go after him is part of his emotional journey. It's not complete until he's achieved this thing. Where in the remake now, it's complete. The Monstro thing is just an obstacle on the way there after the journey's complete. So it doesn't have the same significance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
But just another change that I hate. Oh my god. One more filmmaking rant. This is so distracting. As Monstro is chasing them back to the shore and Pinocchio is doing like the motor leg kick, they change how far away they are from the shore and how close Monstro is to them like 3 times. So the first shot of them approaching the cave, it looks like they're maybe a few hundred feet away. And then after they cut to the whale and back, now they're like half a mile away. And then he's kicking some more, and oh no, it looks like Monster is like maybe 100 feet behind them. And then, oh, now they're really close to the shore. And then, okay, now Monster is like a few hundred feet back. What happened? And then they cut back to the cave again, and it's like, oh, okay, now they're half a mile away again. Continuity! Basic fucking continuity! You idiots!
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can tell now. Oh lord, it's bad.
And, like, I wouldn't talk about this, like, the original is seamless. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. This one, it's the climax of the movie. I should not be pausing the movie and going back to it jarred me out of the watching experience.
I think they reuse a shot.
Wouldn't surprise me. God, that's bad.
Dang.
That's bad.
Figaro got wet.
Kitty got wet.
Anyway, my summary of the filmmaking is ignorance, terrible, dishonor on your whole family. I'm not doing the rant again.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Just, man, this is the worst. This is just the worst. I hate this movie.
It's the worst one.
It's the worst Disney remake. And you could probably make a case for one of them being worse, but no, this is the worst.
Yeah, no, this is significantly worse than The Lion King 2019 by a large margin.
We didn't even finish Mulan, and this is worse than the Mulan.
Yeah. Ugh.
I didn't hate Mulan as much as most people because at least they were giving us something different. It wasn't good, but, it gave me something new to see, where this gives us nothing new of substance and fails at everything else.
Shame.
This movie will never be a real boy.
Got him.
I hate it.
I just, to take something that was so beautifully animated and beautifully told, masterfully told, from like 80 years ago, and to make it this is just, that's what makes it so bad to me.
How dare you?
How dare
Disney. You bitch.
You bastards.
How dare you?
Yeah, my only assumption with this movie is, again, they saw Dumbo failing at the box office and just gave it no budget, and so all the filmmakers just checked out and said, we don't care, here it is.
Like, no amount... Like, it would have fixed, like, the effects, but no amount of budget would have saved a lot of these issues.
Well, I feel like not having a budget made the filmmakers not care. It's like they could tell the studio didn't care, so alright, I guess we won't care either.
Yeah.
Robert Zemeckis, you're better than this. I know it.
Better than this, man. Even your motion capture movies, they're better than this.
Did he? No, he didn't do Tintin. That was Spielberg, right?
That was Spielberg, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I didn't like Beowulf. Beowulf is way better than this.
Like, you actually did a pretty decent Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that was a good adaptation of The Christmas Carol, and it had a lot of interesting filmmaking choices, too.
And at least even in Polar Express, Tom Hanks was invested.
Yeah.
You can't say he wasn't invested.
So we're coming up on 3 hours of raw audio yelling
at a movie.
Do we recommend it?
No.
No.
No. Fuck this movie. No. Fuck its existence. Dishonor. Dishonor.
It's not even bad in a way that has, like, entertainment merit.
No.
It's just infuriating.
Bad.
Again, I talked about the shots. This is bad in a way that they just hold on the same shot with nothing in focus in the frame for like a minute straight. It's boringly bad, incompetently bad.
Just watch the original. The original's beautiful. Now we're not going to have time to go eat.
We will order.
Oh, cool.
I'm sorry.
No,
it's fine.
Are you going to get the chicken strip meal? I want that too. I want the chicken strips, and I want the
We're done with this movie. I'm ordering food now.
We're ordering food. Yeah, I want the chicken strip meal and the spinach dip.
I think of hold on. I think of flipping the Angry Video Game Nerd episode where he plays Battletoads multiplayer with his guitarist, and it ends with him saying, "Go back behind the couch, go bunker yourself from these shitty games." That's what I'm thinking. Go bunker yourself from the shitty movie.
Yeah. So, are we gonna wrap it up?
Yes, let's wrap it up.
So we've been Destination Animation. We had a wonderful time yelling about a movie for 3 hours.
Actually, yes, I did have a good time.
Yes, this was very cathartic.
Yeah, this is like the first time we've watched something like truly bad.
Heinous.
So I'm your host, Becca Knott, and you are?
I am Jason Knott. Where
And
can
you
we
are?
find you?
Oh, you can find me. I have a linked tree, Beck's DK, where you can find all my links. And where can we find you, my love?
I've taken a bit of a unintended hiatus from my review blog. I'll get back to it eventually, but I've had very little energy besides editing videos. But on that note, you can find my videos at Film Freak on YouTube. I am doing a video about Owl House Season 2 soon. Look out for that.
And Carrie.
Woo. And I am
you?
Carrie Dreblow, and you can find me at Cheetah King 243, all one word, on YouTube. That's not my primary channel anymore. Now it's going to be Animation Critic, all one word. I am working on my video essay on Wolfwalkers. I'm hitting the ground running this week again after a long break. Should be out soon.
Yay, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to your video, too. I'm looking forward to everything.
I'm looking forward to never watching Pinocchio 2022 again. Mitch, play me the out.
I'm still tempted to do a video essay just because of how deep I went on it.
God be with you. They got Jacob Tremblay. He's the hot demand young boy. Cut that. Cut that.
Yeah, don't include hot demand young boy.
Okay, yes.
Little boy, big boy, I love you. Anyway, they got
Norma Toomey.
Nora Toomey.
As a verb.
We actually have a trailer for Pushin' Boots. I said it again. Puss in Boots, The Last Witch. Why can't I word? English hard. Okay, take 3. Okay, yada yada, no establishment of scale. Kitty. Okay, there is the timing. Somewhere. I'm the editor, so I can get away with just mumbling to myself forever.
Yes.
This movie can't get away with it.
Ah.
That's tie-in, listeners. Anywho, yeah, that was rage.
I gotta take a pot piss.
He's
I'm
gotta
so
take
mad.
Jason's got to take an angry pee.
Go on without me.
Be good, animation critic, and may your conscience be your guide. Bloon, doon, 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 doon.